rich history of country competition here for esports, specifically Mobile Legends Bang Bang, an esport that we all know and love. Yesterday, we witnessed 4 best of 3s called by our very good friends Kimberly, Mas, and Realize. Did you catch up on that? Because the Philippines stomped, y'all. The Philippines took down Myanmar and Thailand, and then Brunei won against Timor-Leste, and Myanmar got around and back and took down Brunei.
Yeah, I did. I was able to catch some of the games. Obviously, you know, when we talk about the Philippines, it's almost a no-brainer that they cook, they serve, and they ate. They clean the plate. But Brunei against Timor-Leste was actually quite entertaining. You know, judging, we have seen these two teams face off in other instances. But the fact that Timor-Leste put up a decent fight is something that I think is pretty commendable overall.
I love that the metagame is evolving right before our eyes. Alongside our broadcast, the professional leagues of Indonesia and the Philippines are also running simultaneously. And I'm looking at the drafts, I'm looking at the metagames that are put forth. I'd love to see what Indonesia brings to the table. So that is what we are in for today. Real quick reminder of what the groups look like. Southeast Asia, there's a split between Group A and Group B. And then West Asia is split between Group A and B as well. 5 teams for Southeast Asia per group, and then 3 across West Asia's groups.
Yeah, and all of them are playing for that spot to get out of groups, and then we head into the playoffs, which I believe would be a single elimination format, but just for everyone's info out there, we also have Central Asia, East Asia, and South Asia. So again, it's quite a gathering, right? This is what we love about Mobile Legends esports. We get so many different regions come together, be it those that we're familiar with or not, but the love for the game and the evolution, the meta that they introduce is so different that it sometimes reminds us how vast this meta game actually is.
And that's what's so awesome about this esport. I'd say we are in a golden age, given that the game is growing at such a pace that these groups are growing out of hand. They had to split some of them in different groups. Some teams and countries had to be split into different groups. Did you see that Guam is a part of Southeast Asia?
Yeah, I do, which is it's in of itself is very indicative of the rapid pace that we are evolving. But for today's schedule, I mean, we have 2 consecutive matches happening at the same time. Of course, the ones that you're gonna watch on broadcast is gonna be Indonesia against Cambodia, but also behind the scenes we have Laos against Guam happening consecutively.
There it is. See, I told you, Guam has to face off against Laos here. They are part of Group B, so this is a match happening alongside this one coming up. And then back-to-back, you will see on this very same broadcast, so do not touch that dial, don't switch tabs, don't exit the browser. Indonesia versus Vietnam, and then Laos will be going back-to-back facing off against Cambodia. So Cambodia and Laos and Indonesia are pulling doubles today, Husky.
Yeah, they're pulling doubles, and I think for a lot of fans out there, the most anticipated series is probably the Cambodia versus Indonesia. If you know who is representing their nation, it is a very high-profile match. We've seen them kind of duke it out on other stages a couple of times, and for that to be an opening match, it's going to be amazing. But on top of that, we also have teams from different groups duking it out at 4 p.m. CST. So as long as you guys are keeping up with the event, you know that we have plenty of games going on.
That's right. We got some matches from Central Asia, South Asia, and I'm not mistaken, nope, we're not seeing West Asia in action just yet. So this is off stream, so please do stay with us and keep tabs. Follow IESF.gg on your favorite social media platforms, or IESF.gg, the website, to see the score updates. So that's what's happening today in the realm of Mobile Legends Bang Bang Men's. Now we have a few moments to talk about the current metagame. Husky, I'll tell you now, from the last big event we've had, that is the Mid-Season Cup, the game has changed maybe 10-15%. Very small patch that came in, 1.9.90.2. Nothing is groundbreaking here. Nothing significant.
Yeah, there's nothing that is that truly changes how the game is played now. I think even like you said, right, from the mid-season cup up till now, when the regular season for Indonesia and Philippines have just begun, most of the core foundations of the meta is still there. We're still seeing a lot of the regular picks being very popular. The dominating ones in the jungle are still there. It's still causing headaches for those that are not used to it. I personally, I'm getting a bit sick of having people jump around, on assassins. But hey, that's the meta game, right? You gotta either you join it or you get beaten by it.
Based on what happened in MPL Philippines, I haven't quite dipped my toes into MPL ID just yet. That is something that we'll get a taste of here tonight. There's only two real assassins in the game, maybe three if you'd like to really push it. That is Lancelot, Yusun Shin, and Joy. You know what? Yusun Shin isn't even a real part of that equation. Lancelot, Joy, and Hayabusa. Those are the only real assassins these days.
Yeah, that and if you are feeling it, that Yishun Shin gets thrown into the equation. I'm slightly sad that we are not seeing Suyo anymore. It used to be a hero that I really love, and then I grew sick of it because everyone was picking him because he's too strong. And now you don't know what you really lost until you've lost it. And now I kind of miss Suyo back in the meta, but unfortunately, it's just not the place for him to be. Lancelot, man, this guy's too strong. He's too strong right now, but you got to be really good to make him strong.
I think the word you're looking for, Husky, is overtuned. Lancelot, because of what's possible in the metagame and because of what is demanded of teams in team fights, his adjustments in the last one or two patches just made him such a high demand hero. On the other hand, when it comes to utility, I think the only real utility heroes that survived or are still in demand are just Baksha. You know what's weird is in MPL Philippines, I'll tell you now, a team picked Uranus. Lost with it, but I'm glad that they lost with it. But still, Uranus. I think we're devolving. I think the metagame is degenerating. We're going back to Uranus.
And which is a pretty funny thing, right? Because when the meta first, got introduced, when the patch first got introduced, we see a lot of Uranus being picked up in the XP lane, and then I remember also seeing the Akai being brought back into the jungle every now and then, the Fredrin as well. Every time when there feels like there's no more options. Yeah, I think even the export was picked on 2 days ago, right? The Omega against AP brand, we see the export against Akai, which is pretty interesting as well. A quick blast to the past, but the ratio of these other junglers compared to Lancelot being picked up is just heaven and earth. It's just too much Lancelot.
Yeah. So far, we'll see what the metagame looks like in these teams' parts of the world. Indonesia will be in action against Cambodia in a best of 3. Knowing these teams, they might be slightly different from what we've seen in MPLPH. That's where the discussion has been for the past couple of minutes for us. I will try to bring up some MPLID stats, but these are two teams we know. A majority of Team Indonesia and Team Cambodia are teams we know as Team Liquid ID and Cambodia First United.
Yep. And and for these two teams, and you just look at the track record that they had, even on international stage, whether it's head to head or against other big dogs, you know that they are one of the most experienced teams in the world. Even for Indonesia, right? Aran, Widi, Kabuki, Joe, Yehescu, 3 out of the 5 of them literally won a world championship. What, M5? So not M5, sorry, they won a second in terms of world championship in M6. So these are top contenders.
They were that close.
They were that close.
Would love to see the young Jonathan Chin in action here. Ju playing in the jungle. And as well, it's nice to see Kabuki back. Leonardo Agong, he was once part of the OG lineup for then Aura. And then just recently, not more than a month ago, they called him back in. So it's nice to see how his chemistry is in what status that's in with his old team. But how is it going to go up against Team Cambodia, who is literally Husky, CFU gaming?
This team, I mean, as a Malaysian, this team gives me nightmares every now and then. Right? We had a lot of close calls with a Cambodian squad on the international stage, and I think that's very indicative of how good they actually are. The past 2 international tournaments, we literally had them as a final roadblock before we could even proceed further in any international competition. But Alpi, Detective, Xing, Wadu, and Boxy, these guys need no introduction, and I am expecting them to really give Indonesia a run for the money today.
No matter what the stage, no matter what the stakes, the Kamai brand of MLB has to be respected. And here, now that we're looking at the lineups, again, you can just look at the flags and say, oh, that's the kind of MLB they bring. But the difference between what we know Team Liquid ID to bring and CFU Gaming to bring, CFU is just the more consistent one. Like, this is the same team that's been playing for the better part of 2 to 3 years now. I am scared, Husky. I'm nervous going into this matchup, specifically for Team Indonesia.
Me too. I completely feel you on that one because it's the battle between a team that has been around for so long, being able to polish the play style, the chemistry, alongside a team that recently went through changes. Right, we are looking at the Indonesian squad with two of the bigger names or two of the pillars being swapped out, and it's not to say that the prodigy a protege of Fabian and Aaron Shiki is not going to cut it, but it does raise some question marks whether it is enough time for them to gel together well enough to take down the Cambodia Titans.
Yeah, the game has changed ever since the heyday of these two squads. CFU in their most recent outing in their campaign in the Mid-Season Cup came up short. Even Team Liquid ID came up short in the qualifier for said international event. M6 was when we last saw these two teams really hit their stride, and CFU has always just been this close to greatness. So we'll see tonight if in this best of three they can show the world and shock us and take down Team Indonesia and get them 3 points. We are playing with points on the line to try and qualify out. Again, a 2-1 gets you 2 points, the one to the losing team. A sweep is 3 points straight. And then if you lose that, you get nothing in return. This is scary. I think Cambodia can do it. I hate to jump to predictions, but I think Cambodia can sweep Indonesia.
I think there's a chance. In fact, if you just look at Group B alone, right, just by power ranking alone, whoever wins this series essentially has like 99% chance of topping the group and advancing to the next stage. So either way, whether it's Cambodia or Indonesia winning, if they can just win this series, 3 or 2 points, I think the rest of the group stage is going to be slightly easier on them. And that's a scary thought to watch as the other teams, this opening series, go down and knowing that the winner is going to take one slot away from you.
So here's what's scary about this whole situation. The top 2 scoring teams move forth.
Yeah.
So every point matters. Every match matters. So Team Indonesia have quite the mountain to climb here, because even our fans, even the supporters of the respective teams, they're checking in, and I see you guys. I'm watching specifically on the MLBB Esports stream right now. They're also surprised, like, why Kabuki, why Jew? They know that it's the original cavalry, the young stallions that they're looking for, and all the more because of that, for this breaking news that we're sharing right now. Suddenly, the Cambodian fans, oh my wow, they're just happy because these are the same dudes that they've been rallying behind for the better part of a year now.
Yeah, I think that's completely valid, right? Like we literally just talked about, there are going to be questions surrounding this Indonesian squad. It's not like we are seeing them for the first time, at least not during the roster review at IESF qualifiers. We also see them kind of start off the season in the local league, and again, there hasn't been enough data to support the fact that this is going to be the new cavalry, which is why it's so much easier for you to just lean on this representative of Cambodia, essentially the CFU squad, to take this series, whether it's a 2-1 or 2-0. I think even the Indonesian fans are questioning, is this going to be it for Indonesia? Is this the team?
Again, Indonesia had a very strenuous and meticulous selection process, and it has come down to this. Maybe it's the way the meta has evolved. Maybe it's because, as you mentioned, Suyo is no longer in the metagame. Alpha is no longer in the metagame. These are Fabian heroes. Aaron Shiki, no longer is he untouchable. He's very touchable, in fact. And the only real hero that he has in the current metagame are Granger and Harith, which often get banned. So how deep does the original jungler, the original gold laner, Aaron Shiki's experience pool with the likes of Moskov, with 1-1 go? Because 1-1 is also an auto ban in the current metagame.
Yeah, and then you look at Kabuki, who has to kind of pick up the pieces, right? Has to take over the role, that the void that Aaron she kind of left behind. And in the meta, where it is so demanding for XP laners to do well, and then people turn their attention to Aran, and he has already been, I think, under the microscope for the longest of time. When they finished second in M6, he was hailed as one of the pillars of the team. But when Team Liquid was struggling, people were also looking at Aran and were like, what is going on, right? Why isn't this guy the same guy that we saw on the world stage a couple months ago? And now you gotta wonder, is this meta going to again shake things up for the Indonesian team, but in a negative way?
Yeah, at worst, the least I could say for Aran is he seems disconnected, right? Like that's one of the main symptoms of an EXP laner out of their element. But just the same, this is where he really needs to kick in. Still, given that the metagame hasn't changed since the mid-season cup, XP Lane has to play an anchor. XP Lane has to really put their foot down and say, I'll be fine, guys. Just give me something. Give me an Arlet, ban the Phoveus, or ban the Arlet, give me a Phoveus, get my hands on a Lapu Lapu. You know, like, these things are things Aran can do. But it's the mid-trio I'm scared for. Because if your mid-trio is not solid, if somehow you find it hard to get Ju on the same page as Yezkiel and Weedy, then best believe rotations are going to go over to Kabuki, and it's over.
It's been really tough. I think the meta itself, even just in the mid lane pool, right? The fact that now we have Lancelot being literally the apex predator in the jungle, and the patch also indirectly affected that mid lane hero pool. You basically constricted to even lesser viable choices, which is already, a big disadvantage compared to the patch before, when mid lane is already sort of
lol.
and now we are demanding a role that has to take priority in the lane, help the team out in the side lanes, but also have
udah mulai.
work with. It really is a lot of strenuous responsibility for the Indonesian, for
Jelas nih jadwal.
I agree. I think that
Itu udah di ban.
has to really be on point.
Ini cuma 5.
Here we go. Draft has already begun.
Cuma 5
It's
sih.
gonna be Cambodia on the play.
Fanny langsung di ban ya, Fanny Zuxin. Wan. Ini apa yang di ban nih?
Trade with Lancelot, already banned out by Indonesia.
Haya masih open sih, Haya.
The Zushin, the Kalia, still open would be the Arlot, the Farsa, and the Yisun Shin.
Cici, okay.
Cici, and we have first pick. It was questioned maybe like 2 months ago. It was a big question.
Kapan nih first
Now
pick?
we are seeing actually it does work out. Even
IESF? Oh, IESF.
Cup, Jushin gets let through, and you know that Detective is not gonna let that slide.
Oh, Detective is a very dangerous man.
Membawa dulu nih.
Shin, macro control,
Harusnya oke.
carry potential when he hits his power spike. Indonesia, what do they trade with? Did they go with there's the Farsa.
Okay.
Baksha, safe.
Langsung
Right,
Baksha.
so they're just covering their bases. They have rotation.
Baksha lawan IESF.
Again, our worries about that
Kemungkinan romer kan Bakshanya. Susah anjir.
now. How does Cambodia move forward from here? Do they lock in the Harith or the Granger in the first phase?
I think if I personally am looking at the Granger, right? It's not the worst. If you, in terms of matchup into Harith, I still think you would want
Granger
the
sih.
Granger on your side, judging by the fact that
Biar ngaruh kena TPS Farsha.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, coming from Cambodia itself, if they decide to go hard
Tahu
on the
nanti
first
dulu
few picks,
bisa.
I think it's completely fine.
Tapi Granger
The
sih.
onus is still on red side to
Granger
fill out
sama
that third pick. I think if you let's say you don't take
Romernya boleh.
his pick, you can bet that the Cambodia squad is going to start banning him out and really choking him.
Also, something to note, there it is,
Okay.
the Moskov. I was
Moskov,
going to say,
dia lebih milih
there's a
Moskov
big hero that
sama
also
Selena.
makes up for the macro control that Baksha gives.
Oh,
And look at this, the answer immediately. The
Haya,
Hayabusa
Baksha
close
Romer.
up the first phase for Indonesia.
So I do like this is might have
Another
been a bit of a
cheesy
curveball.
picks,
We have
guys.
seen a Baxia second,
Liquid
and
DNA.
then you throw in an actual
Cheesy
jungle pick. So like you mentioned earlier on, it does cover the basis of the mid trio. Fast rotation with the Baxia and Farsa, quick level 4 gang, in fact great level 4 gang potential too when Haya gets his ult.
So the question is, how does Cambodia answer the possibility of a late game comeback? If ever it goes sideways, right? If some way, somehow Indonesia snowballs, I'm still worried about Cambodia's in base
si
defense
Ben
because they have mid wave clear. I wonder if they
langsung
can
ban
answer
ini
that
aja
with
sih
something in the
Rengar,
EXP, a
terus
damage
ban
EXP.
lagi
I'm confused why the Arlot and the Phovius and the Lapu Lapu are
boleh
still
satu
on.
lagi
This
sih
rarely
ML
happens.
Arit boleh
I
sih
agree. I think if you want wave clear, then
kalau
playing
ini main
Arlo
XP
doesn't seem as good. When you still want
Blue,
setup,
okay.
the Selena herself isn't sufficient. But I feel like if you want some die, maybe Lapu Lapu is your next best bet. Decent damage. But the current pool doesn't really have, good heroes in the XP
udah.
roam to help
Arit.
clear lanes fast, right? You're relying on
Langsung saja pick
primarily the mage, but in this
Patrick.
case, I think only the Moscow
Mendung
has
nih.
that capacity to do so.
Antar mendung atau emang udah
Yep.
oke klub
And it looks like Cambodia is afraid to commit
No.
to the Arlot because they still see the Phovius is out there. The clock
Mana
gets
XP
locked
nih?
in by Kabuki. It's an old
Phobius?
school pick for the franchise player for Liquid ID, now playing for his country. Team Cambodia, they have to lock in their EXP
Kabuki
laner and
pakai
the roamer here.
klub ini irit ya tadi
Control band now. Just now we saw the Indonesia really respecting Boxy. That's one of his signature, his most
For sure.
comfortable pick.
apa nih XP sama romer ya berarti
Key lane, right? No glue. I mean, there's still Phobius and Arlet. You could take. I want to say Arlet, but then you need a roamer that can really
Harusnya tank sih.
follow up with that. Like, it has to be a package right now. They don't really have the setup aside from a
Hilda?
Selena. So okay, Arlet and the Hilda to deal with the.
siapa
high
nih
roads
XP
early
terakhir
on.
Mobius kah
In this case, maybe you throw the Hilda
atau ini
onto roam
signature Aran
and
kuda
then
kuda
EXP Arlot. Depends on what the matchup is. So that's one of the cool things Team Cambodia has done here.
Mobius
And of course, you respond with a Phobius. So this basically sends the Hilda into the EXP lane, and then the Arlot to roam. That's what I would do, just to protect that lane.
I would expect that.
ya oke lah
Judging by the swaps, it
Iya,
feels
tahu ya.
like they are putting Boxy on the Hilda.
connect-nya
So
gimana nanti
we do see the priority, right? They don't mind letting Wadu take a beating, but they sure as heck want Boxy to slow down Joe as much as he can.
Okay. I think
gue
Wadu
langsung
is just gonna have
kayak
to hunker down. Wadu's gonna say, alright,
tipis-tipis
I'll
semua
take it.
at least
If
ada
I lose this lane, so be it. I will just
tiga.
clear it.
IESF
and then
bisa
we'll join fights.
langsung mati
This is
monster
better
langsung
than throwing a Hilda
Selena.
onto the XP to just give
Lalu
the
ini
Arlot mid, that trio mid,
kita lihat
a hard job because they have to.
Baxia romer guys
Let's see. Going into game number 1, it is indeed still the XP lane Arlot. Let's watch these initial rotations and see how hard of a matchup it is for Wadu going up against Aran.
I think it definitely goes back to what you were saying, right? The XP lane is so important. You have to be willing to just take it and be like, it's okay, as long as you don't start chain feeding and you don't lose your turret too early on. I think it's a trade that Cambodia is willing to take, and I think it's worth it. But again, the condition has to be you keep the lane as a dead lane and you don't end up letting the enemy jungle snowball out of an early rotation.
level 3 aja
And between these two,
ada
I
bertiga
think it's like,
hijau
oh, what's up? Top lane,
buset
big action already.
trio top
3 members of Cambodia on the top side. Of course, for Aran, he doesn't really care about
Pause,
that.
pause.
Phobius can hold his own.
Oh,
Detective is the
nice
one that
though.
needs a bit of attention with Widdy in the jungle. Should be able to get the purple buff for himself. Widdy just getting information. And attempted steal, doesn't really get it.
Lo,
but
lo,
he's
lo,
also
lo, lo.
taken out of Oppie.
boxing
Oppie
ngapain
also needs to run away. Shadowcube comes out first blood.
rata dong ini nggak ada bayangan lagi
Indonesia,
Jo
and now they want to somehow get this Hayabusa out of
Buset.
the way, and they will do so with the slam of the spear, 1-for-1 trade in the Cambodian jungle.
Ju gets taken out. Good trade here for Boxy. And that immediately gets rid of all my worries. Oh no!
Yeah.
That's Witty getting punished. He didn't exit the lane, the jungle fast enough. I was about to
Enggak, tadi
say,
Jo ngapain
Ju
masih
is the one
mau
who should be more likely to stumble,
masuk.
but that gets shut down. He died so
dia udah
soon.
nggak punya bayangan tadi
He held back by
Jadi hilang tuh,
Wadu,
Bang.
refuses to let him roll out of there for free. And initially, it was Detective that was behind in experience, but off of that, he caught out, right? Hit
Sudah
level 4 at the
dapat
right time,
kartu sih.
gets a free shutdown on the top lane. Turtle does spawn. It seems like
Uncontested.
Boxy in place. There won't be any contest for Indonesia, so it's an easy turtle for Joe.
So Indonesia able to land on their feet and reposition, given the given the information that
Leonardo
is
Leonardo.
not in the vicinity. I wonder what Cambodia's plans are. I don't know if that's a very smart. Wait, he gets caught.
Instantly punished. It's a second takedown for Detective, and that's one of the ways to do so. And I think we are seeing the application of this Hilda roam. You just keep up better with the Boxia. Now they're pressuring Kabuki on the side, pin him to the wall. Boxy's gonna take aggro, no kill angle.
So far, it looks like Cambodia are in control, even when it comes to laning. Fresh wave coming up for both gold laners. That's Kabuki. He's doing okay. In all fairness, Kabuki, despite the mayhem across the map, is getting some safe farm. This mid trio by Indonesia are doing well to protect him, but if it's coming at the cost of his life, oh, in comes OP!
And assassination onto USQ, but still not able to fulfill that. The damage is not enough, so they end up losing Boxy. OP still jumps back in, and this time doesn't have the backup. Indonesia just walks away. They still have the shadow kill if they want to go on to Jing bottom side.
Shadow kill.
Careful, Detective actually gets caught in his own jungle. Able to escape with a sliver of health.
That's traceless for ya. Again, one of the reasons why Yisenshin is so in demand. Has macro control, has mechanical utilities, and crazy damage when he has the items. 4 minutes in, it's Indonesia as the first turtle. Now another spawning in the upper quarter. So slowly but surely, I think Ju is just checking how much he can get away with. And Witty, he's only died twice, which I think is relatively low given how much of space he's buying for the rest of the map. Indonesia.
I think that something that Team Indonesia can be relieved about is the fact that most of the goal right now is on Wadu. At least he's the one with the most takedowns, right? Lowest impact in this early game. If it was on Detective, it would be a slightly different story. It's gonna just spot out Wadu, trying to chuck his health bar down. Meanwhile, they caught someone. Boxy. Gonna flicker away the safety as Wadu just solo kills your S-kill at the cost of their armor. I think that's worth it for Cambodia. Another abyssal arrow lands onto Aran. That's gonna be turtle for Cambodia, but they want more though. Witty is the next target. He's gonna use the revitalize to try and escape. Wadu with the final slash brings him back. Wadu as Ju jumps onto Detective, tries to take him down. Oppi is around, and Kabuki shows up for the cleanup. Indonesia finds a trade.
Call that killing two birds with one stone. I believe Kabuki was just going to mid the double lane and get some farm, but suddenly he walks away with a kill. This does give some space to Zing and put down Indonesia's tier 1 in the gold lane down to about a third of its health, but still, Indonesia firing off on all cylinders, making Cambodia work for this advantage. Now it's gone. There's not even 100 gold between these two squads.
As close as it can get. Definitely what was expected out of this opening match. I mean, fortunately, Detective didn't get that kill onto Witty, because that would have procced the killing spree. Maybe get a snowball going in that earlier fight.
Over to
the bottom side, but once more, Cambodia doing very well with Boxy. Even though he has gone down 3 times, he's keeping up with the rotation and making sure that the core members are safe.
Yeah, between the trading Boxy is doing with Witty, I'll say keep it up, young man. Keep it up. Keep going, Christian. Keep forcing these fights and keep jumping Wadu onto Aran here. Alright, so they've left their XP lane. I think Aran knows that there's not a fight he can win there. And Zing gets the first push.
All thanks to Detective forcing Kabuki back. So that's turret in the bottom lane going over to Team Cambodia. They even force out Witty's ultimate. He gets slowed down by the arrow, pause to revitalize, pin to the wall. That should be an easy kill. That one Zing will be picking it up. And unfortunately, the flicker final from Wadu, but still they force Kabuki back. Still construction up top doesn't connect onto Ju, so he gets free turret damage.
Okay, so so far this is good for Cambodia, despite just having 1,000 gold. I'll say the fact that Zing is getting farm, Zing won his lane, and Zing is now up on gold, I reckon, but down on EXP. I'm thinking, how does he reconcile that? Where does he go? Does he go for a switch now, or does he expect the fact that he can keep dominating his lane, keep staying here, and then force someone to respond to him because he can actually go coast to coast? Looking at the items, he actually is up by 200. That's not bad.
They use
Wah, mati dong Aran.
They saw and attempted steal on the purple buff, and Aran unfortunately gets pinned down, and that's another takedown.
Ini enaknya main
kill.
romer
The only person with
Baksia,
right
guys.
now on Team Indonesia is
Gak
probably
bisa digerakkan
the
anjir.
arrow now connects onto Kabuki. The pin doesn't really follow up, but Kabuki dangerously low. Taken down, but SOD will connect. Perfect snipe from Jing. Mid tier 1 goes down. Keep
Bisa-bisa gini coy.
the snowball. Foxy jumps onto Ju.
Wah, mati dong.
Will allow Ju to get the kill, but
Kayaknya.
Wadu on top of him and just
Wah.
takes him out with the vengeance.
Ya,
He
cakap
is
gini,
straight
coy.
unstoppable on this Arlet.
Zing, zing, zing. This is his prime
Kan
form.
tadi udah enak early-nya.
Zing has entered the building.
Terlalu banyak gerakan-gerakan di luar.
KAMBOJA season 7. I
Nah,
have a
gitu,
t-shirt because of this young man and how well he plays. I wear it proudly to rep MPLKH. He is making the most of all of these sacrifices across the board. Not to mention how Wadu is changing the course of
Kayak lagi.
for Indonesia single-handedly. How do they still have no deaths?
Kayak nggak megang.
What was the build on this guy? I wasn't checking what the Arlet was. Is he a damage
Gameplaynya
Arlet?
berat sih.
I would think
Dapat
not. I
biru
feel like
lagi.
he's still a bruiser Arlet. He's just getting all these free resets, right? All these crowd controls from his teammates are triggering the passive for him.
Oh!
Foxy's gonna get punished. A 5-man gang squad.
Wah, 4 orang kena.
4-man final slash. Zing now goes to work, but the feather airstrike is gonna push
Tadi
him back.
masalahnya tadi 4 orang.
More than enough for Indonesia.
Temen-temen belum datang. Ya, Aran.
But at the cost of Aran, who ends up going down, and now it.
Widih, ngapain?
The boat connects.
Udah, tadi kan udah habis ini loh.
The Tracers, not enough, but
Buset.
Wadu once more to the rescue.
Udah
And Team
habis
Cambodia
soft skill
comes
lo.
up with 3.
Masih dimajuin.
Mountain Shocker is just too good. For the past 48 hours, Husky,
Kita
I
masih
am
bisa ini.
drooling
Kamboja juga
and salivating at the
banyak
best
bunuh
parts
ya.
of most team fights started. Mountain Shocker with the stun right after. Look at this, Cambodia blitzing the Lord.
Wah,
They
dijagain
do
sama
this, oh,
Wadu.
they can, they get away with it. They don't get punished.
It's a free objective with Ju not around, and we actually saw the item from Wadu. He went Hunter Strike into Oracles. Now he just got a magic dagger. So you're right, he is going damage, and that explains.
Robin
like
X.
When we came to the game and we saw Wadu on the Arla, we were thinking that okay, his job is just to hold the lane against Aran and not chain feed. He's chain feeding on the Indonesian players. He's 7-0 and 3, Leo.
This is gross. I don't know what to name MVP right now if Cambodia were to win and run away with this. Wadu or Zing. I think they're competing amongst each other now, more so than just to get glory for Cambodia. Team Indonesia up against the walls here, down about 4K, 5K safe. Detective just secured his Blade of Despair, so it's gonna hurt. Wadu threatening here.
Ya,
again.
masih Jo, udah Jo.
Jumps onto him under the tier 2.
They didn't really take care of the structure. Wadu, if he gets that away from this, it's gonna be a blasphemy, but thankfully he does end up going down.
Wah,
Foxy,
untung cepet tangan lo.
front SOD doesn't
Udah,
connect.
Widih.
Woody will now have to start
Allah.
backing off. Unfortunately, I think he has overextended. Mountain Shocker, the boat hits the air, and Widdy gets away.
Unfortunate that the shutdown got on Wadu, and best part of it all for Indonesia, it went to Kabuki. Am I right to say that it went on Kabuki? That's a lot of items and a lot of money you put on that Claude right now at the 10-minute mark.
That's a very needed shutdown, right? Puts him closer to
Dan tadi sih arrow-nya Moskov nggak konek-konek ya. Nah, mouse itemnya udah jadi oke 4.
Then Kabuki will be in the same spot.
Kayak
Allows him to stay safer from Detective as well, because without the one Detective can literally 3-shot him and not allow him to be in the fight with the Blazing Duet. That will change
coy,
a bit.
coy.
I think it's a bit of a overextension from Team Cambodia. They didn't really need to do that, but for Team Indonesia,
Kenapa Aran head-to-headnya sama Hilda? Balik dong.
It's not over just yet. I think Team Indonesia have a solid high ground defense.
Siapa nih, bos?
They also have quite the power spike. Again, this is a relatively greedy lineup they drafted. Triple core, the Farsa, the Hayabusa, and the Claude. Not to even mention Aran might even start popping off with his Phobius, which again possibly might be the most underwhelming part of their draft. Do you agree, Husky? Because we haven't really seen the Phobius threaten much against anyone from Team Cambodia.
No, in fact, he was just getting chain control, right? Like, he wants to join the fight. There's really nothing much he could do. There's no ideal target for Aran to jump on. I think he just has to accept the fact that he's a sponge. He's going to soak up damage as much as he can, and then let the
KWR,
rest of the team do the job. Because every single time we see Aran shoot
KWR.
up, he's either forced away from the fight or he just gets chain CC.
Lord nih, kalau dapet Lord
and then
bisa
pulled off.
cumbang.
And it's been a tough time for Aran. Again,
Udah
he's
cuma
forced to
tinggal
get angry. He has to somehow
gimana
find a way to make these fights
Kabuki aja
last
sini
longer.
dapet.
So that
Momen.
he can find a
Boleh kasih
more
Kabuki.
favorable position
Gimana?
here in this 11.5-minute game. They're down
Kayak
5K. Suddenly,
Aduh,
KAMBOJA
kena
throw the
ini.
lead again after the shutdown. Arrow thrown out. It's just Weedy. Wow, Boxy's life is just so much more valuable. His deaths are so
Balikin.
much more efficient for his team. Weedy coming in.
Balikin.
Really wants to force an engagement, but can he soak up
Hmm.
enough damage to his
Wah,
team?
kena parsanya coy.
To the back line. They take out Ju. And a double kill for Detective SOD. Barely dodged by your SQ, but this fight done and dusted.
Boleh-boleh nih Wadu nih.
Wadu being the difference maker, canceling the feather airstrike alongside the ultimate engage, and Cambodia comes out with 3 on top.
Boleh-boleh Wadu.
Husky for free, not a single
Di
member.
cancel mulu dari tadi momentumnya.
By Team Indonesia, they tried, they gave it their old Boy Scout try, but it only got them here. With Cambodia inside their base. Down goes the mid lane inhibitor. Top lane gonna follow through. Aran is trying.
He's gonna try and soak up as much output as possible. Even jumps in with the Infernal Pursuit, but you know that he's gonna go down. Mega kill for
Waduh,
Detective.
kena Waduh.
Except the final bounce. In fact, Ju gets away with
Gak ada yang
nothing to
gak ada yang
full health members on Cambodia and 2 inhibitors down for
nge-attack
Indonesia.
dong. Ya Lord.
My squad
Gak apa sama Aran.
with Grand Theft Orange. This is still a good position for them. They can actually try to take the Lord here, but I think they need to recover the map.
Di Discord.
Bottom lane looking juicy for Team Indonesia. Big fat wave rolling through there. The jungle still rife with farm, so that is OP and Zing clearing it out. But look, I don't know if this is the right call. Husky, Weedy is still looking for a play. They're down about 8,000 gold. They're still looking for a play.
I think if they want to make something happen, it has to be quick, right? It has to be in and out. Maybe you throw Weedy's life away, but you get a valuable takedown for Ju. It's a tall task. They are quite far behind. Mountain Shaka unleashed, and now Weedy once more caught, and he's going to be sacrificed. There's really nothing that he could do at this point. He gets info for his team, but now this Lord is in jeopardy. Another arrow connects onto Aran, Indonesia. The objective, and Team Cambodia finds the second Lord, but I think they can go for more. SOD connects, shallow kill, forced out. They do end up taking OP down. Joe with a good takedown.
Waduh nih.
Final slash.
Ngeri banget, waduh.
And now Jing is going to follow up forward. Cambodia up 1 man.
Regroup here for Team Cambodia, readying for the assault. Lord gonna be spawning in about 5 seconds. For Team Indonesia, the defense of a lifetime. Aran will be out of commission. Oh, Wadu breaks out!
And he goes for your hit skill, allows Detective to get the takedown. The boat connects for the Mountain Shocker, and a Winter Crown just to negate the shadow kill. This game pretty much done and dusted. Unless he can make magic happen.
Wah, selamat. Tapi udah susah sini. Gimana?
Jing doesn't have enough health to work with, and with the Lord coming in, game 1 for Team Cambodia.
Ngapain Baxia dah dari semua hero yang bisa lu pilih Baxia coy.
Away from the fight, and he just focused on the base with about 1 HP left on.
Dari semua hero Baxia coy, jadi romer.
Husky, I think this is more of Indonesia.
Berat sini lihat gameplay sih.
Doing so many vibe
Nggak
checks
rapi.
and trying too many things in a short amount of time that they got punished hard.
Yeah, they really did. The first invade, it looked good. They tried their protected, they didn't get it, but they were still ahead in experience. And then we saw the punish start coming in. We saw Aran lose control of the lane, and there was no one there to check Wadu. He was setting everything up. You want a team fight? Cool, I'll do it. There's a solo queue angle. I'll go for the solo queue. Wadu was the key for Team Cambodia. We wanted him to just be a pillar, but he became more than that. He became a catalyst for Team Cambodia from that mid to late game to start winning small skirmishes that converted into big fights.
Wadu was more than just a pillar, Husky. Wadu was a whole damn house. Look at this. Even in the later parts of the early game, post laning, here in the mid was the last turtle. He was doing everything for Team Cambodia and compromising Team Indonesia's sort of solid ground to stand on to try and Kabuki to try and get Ju to do anything. So maybe they had a solid mid trio, but if the map couldn't be settled for your team like this, then it's a non-starter. Great going here for Team Cambodia.
This one was a massive, final slash. If it weren't for Yeheskyu's feather effort, Team Cambodia away, I think that would have been a nasty wipeout. And even then, with everything for the kitchen sink thrown at Team Cambodia, they still came up with the better trade. And when we see the XP laners mirror each other's movement, there was a distinct difference that Wadu gets to participate in all these interactions. Whereas for Aran, he's forced to sit and watch it happen because the
sama si itunya Wadu disapu bro. Tiga orang. Tarsa lagi ulti.
Towards the later part of the game, this was a relatively quick game. About 7 minutes, 8 minutes in, Aran just knew that he wasn't doing much. He was actually being more of a liability. Look, he was just serving up farm to Team Cambodia, so he just made himself scarce. I don't know if that's the best part, best thing to do at this point.
Gua ngerti sih kenapa CC picknya Baxia ya. Kalau emang lo mau dari awal nge-pick Haya, hanya ambil Haya.
Play the map instead of the lane, and then you're good to go. Wow, I don't think you could do that. I don't think you could get away with this kind of matchup because usually.
Lihat tuh Baxia 099.
Yeah, I mean he got way too much. The fact that his first item is straight up a hunter strike really says a lot about the game that Wadu had. Having a rose gold media by the time the game ended, we wanted to see if Team Indonesia would utilize this mid trio and maybe you give Aran a foot up in the match after one failed invade and giving Wadu 2 kills. They just completely abandoned the idea. They were not able to translate that over to Jing. They were not able to translate it to provide pressure to
ngeri Kamboja ngeri. Padahal Kamboja juga sebenarnya early-nya kurang.
For the Indonesian team.
Apa?
Yeah. Again, it was clear what Team Indonesia was trying to do. Weedy was actually doing what Boxy was doing, but without the same returns. Because the lane wasn't doing as much in return for them. So Team Indonesia have to go back to the drawing board. Very clearly see how the stats are skewed against them.
Si Mosul juga tadi banyak banget gagal connect padahal. Jadi 5 lawan 4 kan cuman ya. Kayak nggak gameplaynya nggak nyatu gitu, nggak klop. Kayak pasanya sering banget nggak ada yang yang ngikutin sendiri. Sapu Aran di kiri, pasnya di kanan, ternyata Carlotnya di kiri, jadi nggak head segala macam.
But then Cambodia having the blue side pick, which arguably is the stronger side in this case, they picked the Arlet Hilda last, and the curveball was putting Hilda in the home row to match the box's rotation, but getting a lot of return. It's just more valuable as a back, I think, as the game progresses.
Itu Baxia sih. Baxia questionable.
Peeling and taking damage. The Hilda is also a threat to the random softies. Like Hilda can pounce on Larsa. She can also pounce on the Claude. Maybe if the random moments that the Hayabusa Ju was just sitting there. These are all things that Boxy could do. That
Really he presses out, presses revitalize, and then he prays. He prays that he soaks up enough damage, and he prays that his team has enough damage, but pretty out-reliant as well, right? Before Kabuki fully comes online, it's either you get a good feather airstrike or a good shadow kill. Once those cooldowns are out, you just have detective running at you.
So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, Team Indonesia have to figure out how to extend this series or fold in the hands of Team Cambodia. You're watching the Asian China qualifiers of the IESF Esports qualifier. We are featuring Mobile Legends Bang Bang Men. His name is Husky. My name is Leo. We'll be right back after.
Yang udah di open dia kesimpan di mana ya?
Break dulu kah? Kita lanjut. Break belum nih. Oke. Jelas Busan. Kaohsiung gimana? Kaohsiung gimana guys? Kesel lagi. Eilat. Mana Eilat? Bali. Ada Rumania. Lihat. Nah, tahun ini gimana nih? Kayak Korea lagi sih. Soalnya ada itunya. Ada ini nih. Ministry of Culture, Sport and Tourism.
Parah banget, dibunuh. Bangsat. Nggak mau, kesel deh. Lu nggak bisa bunuh-bunuhan ya?
Politik. We empower champions. Daegu Andong Channel Sangat Baku di mana Baku Seoul Jakarta juga pernah Pertama
Welcome back. You're watching the Asia and Oceania qualifiers for World Esports IESF featuring Mobile Legends Bang Bang. You're back in here on the desk with Leo and Husky, and we just witnessed Team Cambodia, pardon my French, ladies and gentlemen, wipe the floor with Team Indonesia in a very quick game one.
Yeah, it really felt like it wasn't close. I mean, from the draft, it looked 50-50. It looked like, both teams had a pretty decent idea on how to play it. But once the first 5 minutes elapsed, we can clearly see the power difference and how in sync Team Cambodia was, how fast they were playing the draft, and just everything falling into place. Despite us, saying that the XP lane is going to be the dead lane, the static lane that doesn't interact as much, it ended up becoming the lane that defied the game.
Game changer.
All right, Husky, for the sake of a second chance and the benefit of the doubt, what if Team Indonesia are just pushing the boundaries? What if game one really was just a giant vibe check to see how much they can get away with?
I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, knowing this team, even back in the local league, even last year, they have been a team that vibes, right? Like they get a good vibe that day. They get out to a strong start. They get to play fast and hard. It's like this meme that I remember the team putting out is the cycle of their winnings, right? We win, we start losing, we try to find our vibe, we lose more, and then we win. If we are following that chain of cycle, I think we're at the trying to find our vibe back process.
There's only so much finding that you can do before you notice that, hey, series is over. And that literally comes here now. Because after this game, if they can't find a way to win against Team Cambodia, who literally does not know what the breaks are, then they have 0 points. And that's what makes me think
langsung di-ban lagi dong. Fanny-nya nggak lepas. Udah pada tahu kan?
Server representatives out of Indonesia. Points are on the line, man. Unless you sweep, that's 1 point you gave over. It's not free for you to do that. So now they decide to go blue. They will start here. They'll ban out the Lancelot, the Farsa, and the CC, and then Team Cambodia will take out the Fanny and the Wanwan.
So they still ban the CC on the blue side, right? Red side ban, understandable, but this blue side CC ban, it has to mean something. Right? On red side, it's like, okay, you don't want the CC first pick. We've seen that the mid-season comes out some teams, but on the blue side ban, which means Aran is given priority, and if that's the case, you take Arlet here. I mean, Arlet has to kind of go up on the list, because if not, then What
Lah,
moves could that
timnas MLBB
Yeah,
ini.
they gotta. This has to be the Arlet or not. It's a Baksha.
Timnas MLBB gila.
Do they
IESF.
even decide? Are they even thinking to flex the Baksha?
AO
if this is just
lagi.
Widdy's
Udah
pick,
salah.
like I don't know how important. it is
Iya
to have
lagi
Widdy on the
perspik
power.
anjir, ngapain sih?
I mean, the Baxia, really, like Rome Baxia is
Kayak
probably
dari
like
semua
late.
hero,
It's like more than 3 months ago, right? More than 3 months ago
Baxia.
when you know Gabe decided to bring it to MPL Malaysia, you know, and be like, hey, this is a Baxia Rome.
Layarnya emang gak bisa
We
dijaring
saw
lagi.
it in MPL ID as well, but it quickly faded away. So if that's the road that they're taking, I feel like it's a pretty weird hill to die
Kenapa
on.
Baxia sih?
And to do it so soon, to do it so quickly.
Ini
Here now, Team Cambodia brings back an old flame. Hasn't really been much of a big threat, but they pair it up with a very
Boleh,
strong
ayah
pick.
lagi.
But Kimmy, in mid, for the most part, has been fading. But Kalia is still a solid pick if you know what you're doing. And they pick it into the Baksha. Oh my lord, they pick it into the Baksha. Husky, we forgot that Zushin is open. Zushin Baksha, very good combo. Alongside the Moscow. What is up with this draft?
Oh lord, I'm tearing up a little bit.
gila juga nih.
Kimmy definitely mid Kimmy into Tusin is like, okay, you charge up your
Setelah
your
di
Starlium gun and
Kile-kilein game 1
get
masih berani pick
mid
Baxia
prio.
sih ngeri
It's a
sih.
good pick for mid prio. Same
Yang
as the
kalau
Tusin,
confidence.
but with a Baxia around, once he gets the blade armor, it becomes a whole different story. But and also you can't really flex her into the gold lane because last time we saw Kimmy go, we know how that went down. It was a
Kalau
complete
lagi.
stomp at the mid-season cup.
Iya.
So they instantly reveal the gold lane.
Dia,
They take
dia
the
selalu
gold lane.
last pick ya
I'm
si
okay with
itunya ya,
that. So the Arlet gets completely ignored.
XP-nya buat counter.
Again, in game 1, a quick reminder, the Arlet was picked in
Arlet
blue
sih.
4 and 5. So maybe when the coast is clear and you know what you're dealing with, is when you pick the Arlet. Like if Team Cambodia is gonna do it, they're gonna do it if they're sure of how they can weaponize the Arlet. So I understand it, I get it. But what's Team Indonesia missing right now? Both teams actually is a jungler. Are they gonna just start banning out junglers and then just struggling that way? Are we gonna have to go to like tier B, A minus? Like, will we see the Lucas back?
There is a chance. If there's any
Dia
team
masih
that is
ngira
in need of a
Baxia
jungler,
ini ya,
it's definitely Team Cambodia.
Baxia Core.
We still have the Baxia for Team Indonesia if they
Udah
are
pasti core
pushed
sih.
down that route.
Dulu
So we
XP-nya
Joy
sih
is still
menurut gua mah.
up, I guess. Joy, and
Hayabusa too.
Hayabusa. We have the if you really go down to utilities, probably Xborg, Fredrin, Akai. Knowing Detective, he's probably telling his team that, hey, give me like an assassin or something, right? So if Hayabusa doesn't get banned out, I can see the Hayabusa getting picked up in the next slot, even though there's a Moskov. That's still, I think, the next best option.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past Team Indonesia to actually just finesse in that Hayabusa because it's very good right now against two softies in the Granger and the Kimmy. Even Amon, you know, in the heyday of triple marksman with Yisun Shin in the jungle, you can do triple marksman and then the softies just melt with Amon. I like the read of Team Cambodia here into the Angela because look at these three heroes from Indonesia. That is an Angela setup.
Masih ada, iya sih.
Good call.
Arlot
Take it
dulu.
out. And there's
Arlot
the
di atas.
Arlet. Okay, so they know.
Yep. So this
Apa nih?
does leave the
Hero-nya
Focus once more.
Widdy,
I mean,
Widdy.
run can go Lapu.
Sana.
We're
Udah
talking
kah?
about softies, right? Lapu, Moscow, Baxia. It seems like good options to just jump the
Lapu,
back
okay sih
line,
Lapu.
finish the job. And I think not the worst laning phase into the Arlet too. But if they put Aran back on the
Obvious lagi, masa?
the jungler suddenly has a lot of responsibility because right now they don't really have the much damage. They have plenty of crowd control, but the damage output not so much.
Very odd for now, given the first three.
Terus,
Team Indonesia though,
Lolita.
they dig deep. They bring out the Lolita to answer the double marksman. So I see the logic, but let's wait for execution. We haven't really seen a Lolita pop off in a long while. There's a Lapu
I
Lapu.
see the logic.
What does Team Cambodia put into the jungle? What does Detective get?
Ini jungle. Ini ambil jungle nih.
I mean, Lolita, you can preemptively let loose that Numenon blast, but still it can be cancelled. I think there's a couple of ways for Team Cambodia to really knock you out of focus, you know, and prevent the follow-up that you want. If Widdy can land some sick, you know, deflection with the bulwark, that would be great. But with this, talk about the Akai being a possibility, and with the Lolita in play, the Akai is so much juicier in the jungle role.
Okay.
Okay.
They know that the Baksha will be going to the jungle after wrapping up their draft, so they say, hey, go utility against utility and isolate that Baksha. Let's see how Detective rocks this Akai. So far, drafts are already in.
Risky sih kanan.
Will this double marksman lineup get
Kiri
punished?
lebih oke sih bro.
Because I like
Kanan kayak kombonya bakal
I think they can get away with
gak
it.
nyambung.
I agree. I
Gak
would
jelas
say
ya.
that there's a bigger chance of them getting,
Ada kemungkinan
having a harder game if it was
dikumpulin,
like assassin
dibubarin,
jungler for
dibubarin.
Team Indonesia, right? I mean, the Hayabusa was technically open if they wanted to go for it in 4-5, but they didn't. So the only threat I say is probably the Aran diving with the bravest fighter. But aside from that, I feel like Team Cambodia could
Let's go. Game
play
go,
this
game go, game go.
long range, poke you down, take you out bit by bit, and then when they see the opportunity, then it's detective showtime.
Possibly the last game in this series between Team Indonesia and Team Cambodia. Get ready, folks. It's match point for the Kamai in this best of 3. Something to note, Husky. A lot of purifies now amongst Team Indonesia. They so
Bukan
much
Arlot, ya?
respect
Respect Arlot coy.
Wadu's Arlot. Like that is
Masuk ya. Mati dong.
emotional damage dealt. Now Boxy, very low. OP!
Able to
Yes,
flicker away.
yeah.
He's level 2, so gets a bit of the juice to stay alive. But that is a win in Indonesia's book for sure. Detective cannot contest his objective, sadly.
Gila dia
He
skip
still
satu
got
itu
the
anjir.
litho though.
Off cam! Woo!
He still won.
Look at that.
Almost a solo kill down boss. Jing straight up wins his lane.
I'm pretty sure the regenerate has been popped by Kabuki already. Still more action in mid!
Yo
Boxy
Allah
continues
masih
to
dia.
fight and just keep punching into Witty's shoe. Here
Udah.
comes Joe, shows up, tries to go for invade in the jungle. Knows the detective does not have retribution just yet. Maybe an attempt to steal the buff away.
Ya mati dong.
And Boxy attempt to help detective very down low. Boxy kind of finally shows up. Witty there as well. Detective hits level 4.
Yeah.
He hits the retry button on time, and that ultimate
anjir.
allows Team Cambodia to get 2 free kills.
The art of the punish! And who'd have thought
Retry coy jadi
the
level
Akai would hit level
4.
4? Did you even see the EXP bar on that panda? How did that happen?
Oh man, Joe must be feeling so bad right now, losing 2 retribution fights against detective. What?
Joe belum
It's a
sih.
replay of game 1, Leo. They
Kalau
go for an
gameplaynya
invade.
reckless gini menurut gua belum sih
They
coy.
ended up losing members, but this
Wah.
time the cascading effect is a lot worse because Turtle priority
si Wadu.
goes over to Cambodia. Wadu flickers
Masuk,
away.
masuk.
Aran follows up
Itu
with
Aran
a flicker,
udah
jumps
masuk,
onto
coy.
Wadu, trying to take him out. Wadu heals up with the Grace Might and
Sampai
still
nggak tahu
Aran
dapat.
finds the kill and
Ah.
finally
Yo,
Joe
Aran
gets
ngamuk,
something
Aran.
done. Finds the turtle. Wadu, Aran with a double.
Much better recovery here for Team Indonesia. Back in the driver's seat. It all started with Wadu getting whittled down by Aran. Now, see, caught up between 2!
SOD doesn't
Udah
connect.
kena.
Has to blow his flicker, but it's not
Masuk,
over just
masukin.
yet. Here comes Lord Witty.
Let's
Most
go.
likely will find the
Nah,
takedown.
mulai
Easy
recovery nih.
one for Yehescu.
Gara-gara gameplay Aran
Team Indonesia have a vendetta
langsung recovery.
against Zing, given what he did in game number 1. And I understand it. I get it. But is this the right call? Should Team Indonesia really be bearing down on the Granger, or should they worry about Wadu again? Because look, Wadu's left alone.
Nih Joe-nya kalau
I guess with
bisa
Aran
lebih
plus
rapih sih,
Lapu,
oke
they
sih.
can afford to,
Sebenarnya-
let Wadu be
Apa
on
namanya?
his own a lot often, since that this Lapu Can match up
Pilihannya
with
udah
Wadu
bagus,
better
tapi
than the
eksekusinya
opponents
kayak
can, at least in the current circumstances. The
Whoa.
distraction post,
Belum
Yehescu back, but no follow-up again. Witty
pas
puts up
mulu.
a bulwark, and that's the
Ada
end.
aja missnya.
So we're seeing now how Indonesia's unorthodox but very
terbang.
specific draft is answering what Cambodia is putting on the table. Save for that little stumble in the initial invade, Indonesia have found a way to recover. A very splendid position for them to be in now. 30 seconds until another turtle spawns. Lower quarter. Looking at the items, good chunk of it on mid. The advantage for Team Indonesia. Another good chunk of it in the EXP. So yeah, I think they should just leave this alone. Just don't bother Wadu and
Kalau
Aran.
ulang
Just
level
let Aran do his thing.
lagi nih.
I mean, if they can somehow bring the pressure to Wadu and let Aran snowball further, suddenly the mid game becomes a lot
Ngapain?
more easy to play for
Ngompong-ngompong di situ
Indonesia.
tapi
Lapu deals so much
Mending lu
damage.
itu
He's so
setup
durable.
turtle tadi.
We say that he is the primary threat to the backline, but we saw how he
Ya,
destroyed
kena dong,
Wadu's
Aran.
helper early on. A kidnap on to
Udah.
Aran,
Cabut.
and he's gone. And that's a primary threat eliminated.
Cabut.
Flip back onto Wadu. Numino blast charge up on the
Cabut.
tree, but Witty needs to follow up and doesn't find it. Wadu does though with his final slash. A quick
Masih
escape from the
mau
rest of
masuk
Indonesia, but they still end up
Lu nggak ada Aran,
losing
coy.
two. So Team Cambodia comes out on top
Nggak ada
without giving
gimmick
anything
juga.
away.
By God, they could have even taken down Witty. Christian just got
Kena.
away barely. Oh, SOD finds one. Zing.
Cabut
Oh,
itu.
he's gonna press it.
Wah, nggak mau.
With Box
Udah
Jeff,
ditungguin tanda.
definitely not. And free gold for
Kalau gue
Zing.
sih langsung
This Granger,
tanpa
he's
pikir panjang.
he's been in the face of Kabuki the entire game.
Kayaknya
Sure,
gua nggak
he did go
pernah-
down early on, but nothing has changed.
gua.
In fact, Team Indonesia going for a lane swap.
Ya,
They put Aran
Chin,
down one, they
Chin.
need to free up Kabuki, but then now Kabuki is up against Wadu and is not getting any easier.
Wah,
Wadu literally pressed load
Very
game
good.
and continued the momentum he had from game number 1
Yeah.
and is the same beast. Look at this, they're up by about 1,000 gold now with another turtle spawning in a minute. Team Cambodia. Oh no, Zing just got his Sky Piercer. Is that a Piercer after Hunter Strike? Did he get that much farm already? Under 6 minutes?
I think so. I mean, he has been winning, dominating the
Betul
lane.
ya.
Funnily enough, he has less experience compared to Kabuki. I think by half a level, but still his network should be slightly more than the
masalah di bawah
Moscow.
sih.
Yeah, that's been the story even in game 1. I was watching how
Tuh.
somehow Kabuki keeps getting better EXP but less gold. Interesting dynamics on the economy here for Team Cambodia. A lot of presence up top. 20 seconds until another turtle. There's just dueling. Look at this, Wadu and Aran.
Coba setup.
In just a bit too. I mean, we saw the War Axe just got completed for Aran. Fleeting
Pengen
time
out
for
sih.
Boxy too. Very early fleeting time. That should be a first item. First item. So
Yep, that is a clear sign
Wow,
that Boxy
cool.
wants to keep fighting. Boxy wants to keep going and hitting people with the German suplex, pushing them closer to Cambodia's
Yeah, right.
firepower. That's
Oh,
4 members.
okay.
Opie charging up the
Okay.
traction pulse. Oh, gets thrown back! Ouch!
Witty sends it back to Team Cambodia, and now the fight's gonna break
Nah.
up. Spider Aran needs to get
Itulah,
work done. They
kebanting.
find a clean up the kidnap and
Kena
get a
lagi.
4-man final slash for Wadu to set it up. Aran did hit the back line, takes out Boxy. Witty
Itu
able to run
loh.
away.
Kalau daran
The
mah
help bars on
aman.
the side
Itu
of
ada
Team Cambodia
damage-nya.
dwindling with a flickers
Juga
forward,
pegawain sama Aran
finds
tuh.
the elimination onto Oppie. Zing finally shows up a bit late to the party. The bulwark put up by Witty to defend himself from this objective
Tapi rata
steal.
dong.
And in the end, it's 3
Maksain
down to Team
gini.
Cambodia, but Zing is still going with the help of Wadu. Final slash misses.
Udah, Aran.
Aran gets his ultimate back. Zing barely escapes, and Team Indonesia comes out on top.
Shopee
Team
matinya kapan
Cambodia
ya?
couldn't
Kelihatan nanti itu
find
mati.
their perfect front to back. Again, as advertised,
Gila, Aran.
Aran just ruined everything.
Lebih sakit
Aran
damage-nya
just
lebih banyak
ran
daripada
through their front
lainnya.
lines. Aran ran through their formation and just compromised Team Cambodia. It also doesn't help that Zing came from God knows where. Was he pushing up top? Because he was literally just
Wah, sebenarnya bagus juga.
running and double timing towards the fight. He took down 1 or 2, got a double if I'm not mistaken, but he was too little too late. So that is the story of that turtle fight. Not to mention, Yehezkiel. Yehezkiel is so good at getting rid of these frontliners that the marksman couldn't fight back.
Yeah.
Wadu comes into 3.
3 people on top of Wadu. Can he stay alive long enough? Detective comes
Ah,
and helping out with a heavy
picture.
spin. Wadu makes
Mati
it
dong,
away. And now
Moskov.
they jump with the Kabuki. He's underneath the turret, able to dash away
Wah,
with
terlalu
a
lama
step.
sih.
And Wadu again with a stun. He's surviving way too long. Finally, Wadu goes down. And Oppie arrives. The bulwark put up by Witty, saving his teammate
tuh
just in
aja,
time. So it's 3-1. Witty, the savior.
3
Itu
for
ada
1,
Ezekiel,
massive
Cok.
wins here for Indonesia. Boxy unable to find anyone to punish. At least Cambodia's sacrifices would not be in vain. They saved their tier 1. But at what cost? Blood, meat, and even their purple. Oh no! Grand Theft Purple Indonesia barreling forward. They are now in the lead, about 500 gold.
I mean, all of that has happened. The past 2 skirmishes that Team Cambodia lost, they still aren't that far behind. I mean, they're still farming up pretty well. You know, mid turret stays alive. Bottom tier 1 goes down thanks to Kabuki pushing. I feel like if you're Team Cambodia, you're you still have the capacity to fight, right? We saw how mechanically sound Wadu was on the Arlet.
Tuh.
Sure, he went down, but it took Indonesia so long just to kill this Arlet with the help of the detective by the helm. Definitely want to contest for this Lord. Kabuki can now
Reset, reset, reset.
Alright, Cambodia starting up the Lord Dance. Wadu catches one. Now it's Ju. Aran pops the Bravest Fighter.
Flickers forward and a good heavy spin
Yeah,
to isolate
mati dong,
Aran and Ju. Meanwhile, Yehescu just trying to keep his
Wah,
backline alive.
gila,
They're gonna
Aran.
run him down. OP finds the kill. And now for Team Indonesia,
Udah
it's just
Chin.
time for
Jauh,
Kabuki
Chin.
to keep split pushing. 2 turrets fall on the top lane, and Kabuki has
Wah,
gotten the job done.
hey, cameraman.
Looking forward follow up for Boxy just now. Wasn't able to find anything, but they were able to execute.
Ngapain
Ju.
bilangin
Another
balik,
strike
masih
just
situ
with
aja,
the
Chin.
with the Shing, the third
Buset
of this
dah.
game. Holy Shield pop on the top inhibitor with the
Jadi Leonardo.
Kabuki, and Aran show back
Udah
up.
ada
Aran's
sih.
gonna have his bravest fighter back
Ya.
up again. Jump to the back line. OP
Pas
with the
banget
damage.
lagi.
Final slash from Wadu, and both Witty and Kabuki go down. Aran to follow.
Nah,
Team
deketin.
Cambodia wins the extended fight.
You cannot team
Malah
fight
ngedeketin
against a
sama
lineup
Wadu.
like this, especially when you are short on bodies. Team Cambodia played the defense well up top. Team Cambodia forced Team Indonesia to respond in the turtle pit, Lord pit now at this point, and get away with so much. Now it's their turn to punish. OP building himself the Blood Wings, able to withstand even damage being thrown by Aran. So here's one way to deal with the Lapu Lapu. You overload him with stimuli. You give him so many targets from different positions, and the next thing you know,
Okay.
Indonesia are chasing too many goose. They're chasing too many targets, and they get split
Wah,
up
kena
themselves. Here's a concealed play coming in, all just to push mid lane tier 2. Cambodia in control of the map.
The Lord still pushing too. They have a very good
Tuh.
wave setup on all 3 lanes. They're in a prime position to pop all holy shoes as well. So Kabuki is gonna try to
Dapat
stop
si
the
atas
bottom
aja.
one from going off. But it's gonna pop in 30 seconds regardless. Team Cambodia looking
Chin,
for the
Chin.
inhibitor
Ya
top side. And
Allah,
now there's gonna be a title strike into a
Chin.
grab bag. There goes your jungler for Team Indonesia. The bulwark gets put up by Witty. They keep the inhibitor healthy for now. Half a health bar to go. New midway
Nah,
comes in. And
rata
now they
dong.
engage. They just blow up Yehescu. The Wiseman is gone, and it's up to the 3 remaining members of Indonesia to hold the fort, and they will do just that, but at the cost of an inhibitor.
Cambodia comes in unpunished, unfettered. They take away that inhibitor. They take away 2 in Ju and Yehezkiel, and they
Mana nih
give
papian
no
acu?
quarter. Looking at the items right now, huge gaps between the cores here, and this is very difficult. Oh wait, the answer, a half
Ya,
cock
disuplek lagi.
Will blast.
And Boxy is still able to grab a target. Has Cambodia a bit more than they could chew because they just lost Boxy. Aran with a good stun.
Pas banget
They
tadi.
will take out Detective. Wadu desperately trying to get away.
Ya,
Traction ball
gila.
reflected by Winnie to deliver the 4 for him, and Kabuki cleans up. And Team Indonesia turns it around. A
Oke,
maniac
udah.
for Kabuki.
Bisa di
Answer the question, yes.
Ini nama
Husky,
Aran.
yes.
Arannya tadi udah
Cambodia
diangkat.
may have bitten off more
Ya,
than
tadi
they could
plasnya
chew.
diangkat tapi dimasukin
And
sama
now
Aran.
Indonesia are running it in mid. Straight up. They might actually end this. It's
Lah,
all
langsung
5.
terus.
Only Boxy will spawn.
Ya
I
lo
don't think there's
Aran
enough
bisa.
time. Team Indonesia barely pulling it off, but it's more than enough to send us to game number 3.
Gendong Aran.
Heartbreaking loss for Team Cambodia. They had that game,
Ngeri banget.
and it was theirs to lose,
Ke
and
next
they
game
did.
aku di ban.
Now Indonesia forces us to go all the way, denying match point. Now they get momentum.
They do. It's definitely not the way you want to
Ada
lose
belum
a
tadi.
game. Again, Cambodia, they had the control. I mean, even the item progression tells you the story that they want to go hard and fast. It came at a time. First item fleeting time for
Asa.
Boxy. Even the Granger had like almost full item, right? He was about to get a rose gold meter at one point. I feel like all they needed to do is just to play slow and patient. They got 2 inhibitors already. They didn't really need to rush.
Ya tadi terakhir tuh dia udah bagus.
Zealousness came at a cost too
Angkat
heavy.
boxnya tapi Arannya masuk.
Husky, they went too fast and they totally missed the pit stop. They ran over their own men, and now they have to recalibrate, regroup, and this was literally a game where they had to just slow down for a second. And this just shows you that despite Indonesia having a different roster, their senses and their instincts are on point. Their hunger for victory, their killer instincts are sharp as ever. So you can never count them out. Cambodia, this is a hard lesson to learn from, man. Mid series too.
Yeah, and Cambodia, like these players, this is not the first time that they experienced a defeat of this sort, right? Of where they had a control of a game and it slipped out, within underneath their fingertips in a matter of seconds. But I gotta say, this Lolita pick, a lot of hidden moments where Witty was actually the hero. The amount of projectiles he was reflecting. Of course, one of the highlights being the final moment, he reflecting that traction pulse, allowing his teammates to clean up the fight. But up till that point, again, Team Cambodia were in total control. It was Indonesia that was overextending. It was Indonesia overestimating their output and getting punished. But it doesn't really matter if your opponents are also doing the same, overestimating their capabilities.
Here you'll see in the mid-game to the even late-game transition, Cambodia really found a way to split up Indonesia. But eventually, in one final moment, in a second of a vulnerability, Indonesia were able to funnel through Cambodia. And it happened here in this part of the map, no? In the orange side of the jungle, wherein the stars just aligned. Indonesia just put Cambodia where they wanted them and wiped them out. We'll see it here in just a bit.
Yeah, I mean, even this sequence got me worried for a bit with how long Detective and Wadu were able to hold on in the top lane. Of course, Indonesia still came out on top, but this was the final moment, right, where they really just overstepped. Like the front line was out of position, Wadu ran out of support, and then just good old Witty with the bulwark to allow the cleanup. Kabuki gets to show up. We talked about
Ya, we are back guys. Dia Aran sih mahal banget sih Aran. Dia banyak banget ngedodge. CC pakai imunnya dia. Jadi dia bisa langsung ngebalikin, malah ngasih damage ke si Kamboja. Jadi si Wadu tuh udah keren banget kayak game 1, cuman gara-gara palu-palu ini momentumnya hilang mulu, damage-nya malah masuk dari si Lepok dan ya di War X sih lumayan pedih rasanya. Sama si ini Akainya juga tadi sebenarnya ya dari draft udah kelihatan sih sebenarnya dia nggak cocok lah draftnya, lalu jadi kembali gitu loh. Nah, jadi buyar. 4-2-6 buyar, malah jadi buyar coy. Last pick Akai sih agak aneh sih, kayak ngapain lu last pick untuk Akai gitu, mahal banget. Kalau pakai Haya atau tadi apa ya, pakai fighter juga masih oke harusnya. Gila langsungnya LTG lepas 2 kali tukar sama IESF. Ya apa nih, sama hampir sama ini ya. Priority pick kan sekarang, lapu-lapu guys. IESF. Lapu-lapu priority pick, lapu lance. Apa nih? Itu dari tadi main itu tuh seru.
Kalau lama anteng nih.
Break dulu nih, break.
Tuh katanya menikmati. Jadi dia kayak ini nih bisa gini. Aduh, gue yang kebunuh nih. Nah, anjing.
Break 2 menit, break. Ini harusnya si Chin nih udah gak bisa blunder lagi sini game. Karena di grup ini apa? Di grup B saingan beratnya kan Kamboja kan. Jadi kayak lu gak boleh kehilangan poin gitu loh. Dan Kamboja. Misalnya Laos siapa ya? Gak tahu. Vietnam paling. Vietnam juga gak tahu siapa yang main. Ini match penting nih buat jadi juara grup. Sisanya mah ya udahlah. Kayak lawan ranked ya. Ini kan Filipina Myanmar. Di sini Indonesia Kamboja. Jadi kalau bisa juara grup jadi nggak ketemu Filipina ya Allah. Sedih. Ketemu Filipina lagi mah. Karena nggak tahu berapa yang diambil. Kalau misalnya nanti lawan Myanmar ya jago juga, cuman ya masih bisa daripada lawan Filipina. Lawan tim Pakon males banget. Detik.
Welcome back. We are at the finale of this best of three. Once again, points on the line. Who walks away with two? Who walks away with one? This is Team Indonesia versus Team Cambodia. Husky, I won't lie to you, folks watching with God as my witness. That was all Cambodia. It was literally their game to lose, and they dared Indonesia.
Yeah, they took a gamble, I guess, right? They put too much chips on the table, and then they all in, and then they lost their whole house. They lost their house. They lost their car. They lost everything and the game. And now there's a potential that they lose the series and be down one. Be down 1 point compared to Indonesia. I think it's a heartbreak. We saw how Indonesia got ran over in game 1, but now the momentum has shifted. After that comeback, I think they feel a lot better about themselves, about how they trapped approaching this game. Whereas for Cambodia, they tried a different approach in game 2. It worked out until they got in over their head. Now it's back to the drawing board.
Yeah, this is more so a test of mental and reset than it is of mechanics and gameplay, right? I'm pretty sure Cambodia have sound understanding, sound meta know-how. Because again, their drafts, maybe more so the first one, are on point. The second one, they were getting a little spicy, but I think going into game 3, they have to figure out all the going into game 3, pretend like game 2 did not happen. Because the more that they think about that, the more Indonesia gets into their heads and are more likely to get a reverse sweep.
Yeah, and I do wonder if they are going to prioritize the Moscow again. Moscow has won both games. They've gotten Arlet for free both games as well. I would want to say game 2 was sort of an Arlet win, if not for the actual result. So I feel like these two picks is something that they could lean into. If they stick with the Granger, they just gotta remember that Team Indonesia are not shy to reveal some of the tricks up their their sleeves, right? The witty, Lolita, the first phase Baxia that can be flexed into both jungle and
Let's
roam.
go.
You know what? I concur.
Yes.
I think
Lebih
more
dulu.
so the Moskov, because even Zing found it hard to position himself and to make it into fights at the right time.
Masih
as
loh.
the Granger. He's not used to
Lancelot.
just walking up.
Pani.
I think this young man likes to come in fashionably late. So the SOD might actually be the game changer for him. Now going into the draft, we see an Assassin's taken out first. That is the Fanny and the Lancelot. Cambodia on the play. I wonder if they'll try to get this Yusun Shin through.
Lapu sih, lapu.
Ban specifically, so that the Yusun Shin sneaks through to make it into blue one.
Kalau nggak ban lapu sih dia Kamboja.
In game 1, Team Indonesia did let the Yishushin through, right? And Detective had one of the best games. And
Zoom sini
this
ada.
time they ban out the Jusin again. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, your Heskill's Jusin has caused some big problems for the front line, even for people like Detective and Boxy is not easy to navigate. But I do like how Indonesia is respecting the Yishun Shin. They're not going to take any chances.
Okay, this rarely happens, folks, that the Lancelot and the Yishun Shin are banned in the same side. But that's just clear, alright? Ju would rather not deal with Detective on either of these heroes. So we will see a different pick. Cambodia now, 1-1. 1-1 is still at large. 1-1 Baksha, the usual suspects.
Lapu. Banyak mikir.
The one hero that was banned out, third pick for both games for Indonesia was the CC. So let's see if they go for that again. If the 1-1 gets let through, I mean, it's one of Jing's comfort, right? We've seen Jing on that 1-1. He loves it a lot. But CC banned out by Cambodia this time.
So this ensures that at least that maybe the 1-1 makes it through
Kalian?
now. The Farsa, the Baksha.
Kalian dong pas.
So does
Kalau dia mau
Cambodia steal the
ngambil
Baksha? Do they do that here?
Ranger,
I think they can. If they don't, what else?
Ranger Haya
Farsa
kan.
for the jungle. If not, they can take Farsa, I guess.
Dibalikin
So
ngambil.
they do take the Baxia
Ini
away.
ngapa ada banyak
high
baksia
quality.
anjir. Speak mulu tadi.
Now what? Liquid, and in this case, Team Indonesia have played with the Baksha all through games 1 and 2. How do they answer for this missing piece? They're one of their comfort picks in the draft, whether it be in Rome or in the jungle. Farsa X,
Ranger Pasha
Farsa
enak sih.
something would be good here in the first phase for them.
Ranger Pasha.
Farsa. I mean, the Kalea is still open. Could
Atau
Kalea
Kalea Pasha juga.
Yeah, it's a very easy to execute combo. Great kill pressure. They
Kalau
could
Kalea
consider
green
that.
aja. Gitu
There
sih.
isn't much option
Ah,
left.
lebih Moskov kan.
Take the Moskov. I also like this
Kalea
approach.
mau Pasha.
It has
Oke.
been a very important hero in the series. Farsa
Si
Moskov.
Kabuki berarti lebih pede Pak Moskov ya daripada
So this is good. Again,
Granger.
the fact that even Zing would most likely want a Moskov more than a Granger, plus the Farsa that just covers bases in any mid-trio combo. Now Cambodia, they need to...
dia harusnya ambil gold
I
sama
wonder if
mid.
they're in a rush for the Granger.
Jadi dia masih bisa flex
Or will
baksia
they
kayak
risk it
tadi
to leave it
Indonesia.
open so that they maybe end up with a Harith or a Granger after bans?
I think they also don't want to reveal where this Baxia is going.
Karena
this
XP
early
biasanya
on.
terakhir kan
That's
ya.
one of the, I guess that's one of the traits
Iya,
you get if you
goldnya apa
pick
nih?
the Baxia
Oh,
first
langsung
phase.
dibuka.
Kalea and
The picks jungler.
and the Kimmy. So yeah,
Baksia.
Baxia gets revealed. It's going into the jungle for Detective. I
Penilaian
guess they
Kalea.
had to do it, right? Because if not, then Kalea goes over to Indonesia. Then you
Lawan
have a whole
Baksia.
lot of other sets of problems to deal with.
XP dulu nomor
Kalea
dulu.
and Kimmy, this is the same combo they had in game 2. I think there's
Hmm,
a part of them that wants to, run it back
yang lo
and
dulu
say,
nomor
we'll do
dulu
that
sih.
again, but better. We'll clean it up, and we'll win with this kind
Joe
of
is
lineup.
good,
We don't
Joe.
know where this Baksha. Well, no, we now know where the Baksha is going for the most part, and then we also kind of know where the Kimmy's going. How does
Gatot.
Indonesia close up their first phase? Do they pick up a jungler now? Do they Hayabusa here? I think that's pretty safe. Hayabusa or
Oke
Joy?
dulu.
Wow, they go for the glue. Okay.
Zaman
I mean,
dulu
it's
ya,
not too
dulu
bad
ya.
of a pick actually. right? Doesn't matter where the Baxia goes, and we have seen Baxia XP. It's not a thing now, but this glue basically covers all the bases. Kimi doesn't have the damage to take out the glue. Kalea and Baxia absolutely hate this hero. The glue was banned out by Team Indonesia themselves, I think, in the first 2 games. Now they give it over to Aran. Power to Aran.
Gua tuh masih ada tahu Granger
get away with
Granger.
it.
B.
They get like 3 more bans.
Yeah, this is a very strong red 3 pick here for Team Indonesia. Now they go to bans. I think they can start locking down gold laners. They can just take away all the good gold laners.
Gila, jadi coach siapa gua? Bisa trending
worry
ini.
about the Arlet, right? And in fact, they saw Team Cambodia, they banned the CC. It's like, okay, you ban the CC, this is a free glue pick.
Apa nih? Bisa di
Like,
ban
no
kayak
sandbag on the side of
Gatotnya.
XP lane now can effectively deal with the glue. Like, you have to just concede to the fact
Iya
that
sih,
Aran is going to have priority and he's going to be a menace, and start thinking about how to deal with it. We've seen that in the
Patrick,
mid-season cup as well, where
biar
Blue
dia
is such a
pick
powerful pick in the
Adit.
right team comp, you just
Bukan.
ruin the game.
Yep. There's the Beatrix. So I think Indonesia is allowing the Harith for Team Cambodia, knowing that the Harith will suffer. The Harith will find it hard to pick fights and flourish underneath all that pressure, underneath the firepower of the Moskov, the Farsa, and even the threat of getting a mount by the glue. Roamers, is that what Cambodia is attacking here? They take out the Gatot. What else is a good roamer these
Joy
days?
nya, oke.
Oh wow, no, the Joy. So they're okay with the Hayabusa.
Yeah, so Hayabusa is the last option, at least for Assassin's Rollers. I mean, even from the first 3 picks, just from the bans itself, I'm already liking what Team Indonesia is bringing, right? You take out Beatrix, I mean, very clear combo with Kalea, but also the Granger that naturally builds Skypiercer, threatens the glue, when he gets enough items. But with that remove, I really don't know what else is left for Team Cambodia to pick into the gold lane.
Semua orang mimpi di pick.
Win a matchup.
Nggak ada udah Baxia. Tapi Baxia XP bisa sih.
That's as safe as it can
Bisa.
get.
But it's very slow. It's
It
safe, but slow.
Iya.
And with a Hayabusa out there, it's
Harlock lagi nih.
more precarious for Zing. But hey, if he can get away with it, but yeah, you're right. That is one of the better ways of damage output to try and get rid. Imagine too the anti-synergy or the benefits for the club. If you can get the Art of Thievery from the little glue link. That's a lot of move speed.
Itunya pindah ke gold.
I mean, this interaction is pretty rare, but in the event that the Aran ends up sticking onto Zing, if he picks a Claude, then suddenly there's nothing much he could do. So they go to the Bruno.
Yeah.
So big burst damage. They want to dominate the lane and hopefully use that as a launching pad to snowball.
And then in the EXP they run the Hilda.
Kuda juga bisa kuda.
So that's Wadu's Hilda. Now one more pick for Team Indonesia. Witty doesn't have a hero yet. What else is left out there? Maybe Lolita once more, because there's still 2
Lolita.
marksmen.
You can, I think. I think Lolita isn't too bad of an option.
Awas.
What else is there for Witty? He could go for Witty Cho if he really wants. That's also one of his comfort picks. Matilda is up, but I don't think you really need that.
Cho.
Yeah.
Signature hero, bro. Let's go.
This is one of his favorite picks. Very comfortable with this Cho. So yeah, no, this is good. This is great because again, you could kick 2 solid targets, the Bruno or the Kimi, and then a Hilda out of the bush is a Hilda you're not thinking about. It's a Hilda you're not worried about. So Indonesia solid draft, very liquid coded. Team Cambodia though, we've seen him try to win with a lineup like this. Husky, are you worried about the same thing? Because this is not the Arlet anymore. This is a very honest Hilda that just stands in your face. They are I don't know if you agree with me, but they're lacking CC. They're lacking raw crowd control.
I completely agree. That's exactly my concern.
The
first 2 games they had Wadu to really be the primary, setup for the team, but now it all lies on Boxy's shoulders. He gets a good grab.
Waduhnya masif nih. Let's go.
move, we get initiative, and then we still have to rely on the damage output from both the Bruno and the Kimmy to get the job done. But for Indonesia, oh boy, the later the game goes, the scarier it gets for Team Cambodia.
This is the decider. Game 3 in this best of 3. Who walks away with 2 points?
Let's go.
Team Indonesia, Team Cambodia. This is a relatively quiet start compared to our previous openers. Husky, oh wait, no, never mind. I take it back. I take it back. Wadu already in the orange side of Team Indonesia.
Yep,
it is Cambodia thing after all. Pedal to the metal, forcing a flicker out of a run. I mean, that's not too shabby. They don't get the pressure Joe anymore, but they do take the video away. Winnie shows up, provide a bit of support around. It's gonna help the teammates heal up. Winnie taking fatal damage. First blood going over to Detective, and now they want more is Joe. Next on the chopping block, Aran sees the teammate Shadow back in. Joe able to escape. Aran finds a takedown. Joe with the Shadow just dances around in Cambodia, and this is just disastrous. 4 deaths for Cambodia and a triple takedown for Aran.
Team Indonesia, they were able to weave through the heals that Baxi was providing. The extra sustain Wadu had by weaving in and out of the bushes. And again, Cambodia, their damage isn't as reliable yet. Now Zing is caught out between 2, make that 3, 4!
And they give it to Kabuki too.
Rotasi.
I mean,
it's
almost fair to say that all 3 collapse within a matter of 30 seconds. This is definitely not what you want, right? This choke pick, not just a witty special, but also forcing Sing to make a decision. You want Flicker or do you want Purify? It's a lose-lose situation regardless. Aran shows up, there is the SOD. Joe still has the ultimate, just shadow kills his way. Witty finds the takedown. Traction post hits the Duelant, so ends up getting nothing. It's 6 kills to 1, 2.5 minutes in. They lose you finally, but Detective is gonna end up going down. Brought underneath the turret. That's Kabuki with his 2nd kill. It's 7 kills to 2 in favor of Indonesia.
I don't know if Messi is the goal, but the first 2 minutes of this game was so messy. It was literally mayhem, chaos incarnate in the land of Dawn. Wait, am I reading this right? Is Opie's first item not gonna be Wadu, Witty, flickering out? Is Opie's first item gonna be a Sky Piercer?
Yeah, it feels like it seems like it, right? He has 2 expert gloves and he's not completing his boots, but he has no damage. Who are you executing? That means that the only damage dealer, reliable one, is Sing, who just got his Heart's Claw, but he's not gonna participate in majority of his fights. So many questions that need to be answered. Kabuki does end up going down. Going on Detective, but Winnie finds the kick, forces on the Purifier, the blast, airstrike from the Weissman himself. And they pick up 2. Team Indonesia again winning out the skirmish.
And how unfortunate that it's Sing who dies in that whole exchange. Again, that's why there was so much effort from Team Cambodia to send dudes down there to try and get back farm on the Zing to get him back on track. Instead, it's Kabuki who gets a couple of kills and is in a better position. They're down what now? 1,000 and change up top. The fights don't stop.
Wadu is most likely going to get executed too. Joe just presses the ultimate, shadow kills, and that is going to be a 2nd takedown for this Hayabusa. I mean, despite it being so bloody, the fact that Cambodia is less than 2k behind, I guess is not too bad in the grand scheme of things.
And the turtle spawn, let's see if they can regroup and, recover from here. There's a man advantage for Indonesia, and it's already broken out.
Kick onto Boxy too. Joe gets the turtle, and unfortunately Boxy doesn't grab anyone. The SOD connects, no follow-up. Allows Team Cambodia to find a kill or 2 for themselves. They lose Oppie in the process. That's Aran with a mega kill streak, but at least Team Cambodia gets something in return.
That's a 2 for 1. Oppie for Witty and Yehezkiel. I'd say it's still a wash because they did lose out on the turtle. Detective throwing no caution to the wind, trying to hunt down Kabuki. And oh no, it might be the same story as game 2. Concealed from Witty.
He doesn't have flicker, so they just jump onto him. He's trying to weave his way in, and now the shadow cube bounces on the Detective. So Shing able to survive that. Witty not able to catch up, but they lose Boxy in the process. So Indonesia still gets a win.
That's a clear
Udah mulai
1,000
bagus nih
for
koneknya nih.
Indonesia. And the map, they're just so much speedier rotating onto the map. Even with Detective here. Aran finds the mount, sends him over.
Traction pulls only onto Witty. Fortunately for Wadu, he really can't do much. Opie also needs to stay safe, and well, this time Indonesia really, they don't get much in return. For an airstrike though, it's gonna shut down Opie, who just isn't aware of where Aran is at.
Indonesia going full brawl server,
Aran
and
di
Cambodia
bawah
are
ini.
enabling them. Cambodia are actually walking into these fights looking for them. That is a tsunami slam onto Aran. In comes Wadu from the back. Oh, that's an unorthodox amount of discipline. They didn't pick that fight.
And there's no damage
Udah
from Cambodia.
sudah.
Jinx soccer balls
Pikiran gelap nih.
just aren't hitting hard enough.
Kamboja
They're
dapat lagi.
They're gonna try again. Without tsunami sand, it's still got a tidal strike, so yeah. Boxy's gonna sacrifice his life. No, he pressed the conceal in the end to somehow survive. They find Yehescu, so that is a shutdown for Team Cambodia.
Yes, skill taken out.
Kamboja.
Closing the gap, but just barely. 2,000 between Indonesia and the Khmer. One more concealed from Witty. Who's he looking for?
Finds the slow, around flickers forward. They want Z. He gets out of range, but the SOD connects.
Iya masuk
Kabuki with the kill,
Kabukinya
and Kabuki's out
ngapain?
of position.
Kepencet kah?
Doesn't get a cooldown for his reposition, so Opie gets the punish. There's a Sky Piercer for this Kimmy. Aran walking away. Detective sees this going on, but he's a level behind Joe. This should be a free turtle for Team Indonesia. Detective will try, but it's late. Gets kicked backwards and now out of position. Pops to the Poissons, takes the Eye of the Storm. Cyclone Knight gets away, and they disengage.
Consider me confused. I am not used to this kind of high octane MLBB. Just throwing bodies and catching fists. Indonesia able to make sense of it all and try and stop what was going on in the turtle, but I don't know how Detective did that. He just, it was a 1v1 and it was obvious that Zhu was actually up, but Zhu couldn't secure. That's a turtle, the final turtle for Cambodia.
And third turtle is always a lot more important too. So it is, I mean, good news for Team Cambodia. They still are 2,000 behind. They have a, you know, boss cup they need to deal with. Bottom lane, Boxy gets kicked back. Musa needs to go down to the
Boxnya
shadow
ketendang mulu coy.
Seeing trying his best to do damage, and now
Leonardo.
joins in. Gets found out of position as Wado chops it in half. Ze's gonna be the next target, and he also out of position. Double kill for Joe. Wants to look for Opie, doesn't find it, but Wiseman is catching up. Opie executes it with a Sky Piercer. Winnie over the wall, couldn't find it with a Chikundo. Opie somehow escapes as Detective saves his mid lane.
Jadi ya lo
Really trying to
juga
run
orang.
away here. Wadu has eyes on him, has to let him go. Oh wow, Ju was there. Ju was just pushing.
He does have the ultimate, and jump onto Wadu. He has max stack. Box
Yeah.
to save Wadu, and is successful in doing so. I mean, talk about a high octane game. They still are going. They still are willing to fight. And now it's Winning with the kick. Gets jumped on by Wadu. Winning tries to escape. Goes down to the retribution of Detective. As both teams continue to trade body. Is Aran next. Here comes Joe and
Timing
Yescu.
coy.
And once
Aran
more,
ngeri
Indonesia strikes back.
banget.
The SOD from downtown Team Cambodia ends up taking the big fat out in the bottom lane. There's 3 dead. Detective wanting to run away.
Gila, Aran.
Right on top of him. He gets brought back, but at least he's able to roll out to safety as the Lord spawns.
Yep.
Mati dong.
Detective pressed the puissance just to make sure. We barely caught him, but
Ngeri
Opie
banget.
gets slain 1v1 by Ju. And this is all Team Indonesia right now. Free Lord for them as they barrel forward about 4,000 gold.
I mean, it's pretty obvious that one team is gassing out, and that team is Team Cambodia. When you're constantly fighting, you start losing track of the resources on the map, of what the enemy has left in the tank. Team Cambodia, we saw that happen. They kept on pushing the envelope, forgetting that Yehescu and Joe are still around. Now Lord for Team Indonesia, and the goal gap start to widen.
Currently at about 5,000 gold. Barely under as the Lord spawns in the top lane. Indonesia.
Yang buat alasnya.
This is the brawl server. They are known as the brawl server. I don't know what Team Cambodia was thinking. Zing is at 0 and 5. Oh, yes, still gets caught.
Dia bawa
Presence purified, but still ends up going down. Good catch from Opie. I think Cambodia finding some sort of a response. Kabuki pushing the bottom lane with low empowered minions. Instant conceal from Team Cambodia. They want to catch Kabuki. 4 men coming in. Kabuki only has a
Kabuki,
Purify to work with. SOE
yeah.
reposition. Presses Purify. Wadu takes
Itu
the shot. And
loh.
allows Kabuki to get away. Perfect execution from the
Kabur,
Moscow.
kabur.
The MPL ID vet of so many seasons gets away from sure death. Team Indonesia continue to pick up the pace because of that. Oh my God, Zing almost died.
Gak kena,
Wadu
bayangannya
saves
jadi
it, but
mantul.
soaking up the damage from Jude. They take care of the Lord. No inhibitors in jeopardy. Team Cambodia holds on for another couple of minutes.
Because of that huge rotation down bottom, top lane got compromised. All of the turrets up there got demolished by the Lord, and with very little effort from Team Indonesia too. So now, the lead gets for sure cemented at 5k, and Team Indonesia can just keep playing the map this way. Again, they have macro superiority, the rotational speed from the Farsa, the Moscow can go from coast to coast. Cambodia have very little to gain by following that up. Yes, they have the Hilda, yes, they have the Baksha, but
Dia tinggal tergantung sama Leonardo nih, tinggal tergantung sama Leonardo.
on Zing. He is
Leonardo.
anemic right now. He is down almost 2,000 gold. That's it's almost a full item.
Yeah. Just got his malefic
Fight
gun.
udah panjang banget
Same as,
anjingnya.
you know, our man Kabuki, Hironado. He also got his malefic gun. Doesn't even need the Winds of Nature. As long as Zing can't touch him, he is just straight up safe. That extra range is gonna help him out for sure. Indonesia, they can just keep holding this ground. It's not like Boxy wants to engage anyways.
cepetan.
Every time Witty shows himself, it's a no-go for Team Cambodia.
And Witty here. I don't know if this has been checked last by Team Cambodia. Conceal coming in from Boxy. Spots, he does kill.
Wah, lepas. Easy kill.
Gets away. Detective on the case.
Aman.
As the fight now splits into
Masuk.
two parts, Zing needs to back out. They find the assassination onto Api. Zing gets jumped on.
Kanan.
Aran misses the engage, but
Wah,
it's just
aman,
too
aman.
much from the side of Team Indonesia.
Ya,
Witty
Widi.
can't get the kick off, but Leonardo,
Wah, Leonardo,
is just
bro. Ini,
cleaning
bro.
up the backline. Cambodia,
Wah, dia
they lose
pakai
focus and they lose 4.
Ya
Team Indonesia can just
Allah.
run it down.
Itu
They smell
loh.
blood in the water. It's endable.
Semuanya
for
pada
Team
all in wise
Indonesia.
man.
Only one
Let's go.
defender, just Detective left.
Reverse sweep, reverse sweep.
They want to crack the case, but unfortunately for Team Cambodia,
Dah.
today is not the
Reverse sweep.
day. No Sherlock Holmes
Itu
moment. Team
loh.
Indonesia complete the reverse sweep. It's 2-1 in the opening series in the group stage.
They can't crack the case instead.
Boleh, 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 boleh,
Crack the
boleh.
base. Indonesia, turn it around. Reverse sweep, 2-1. You know what?
Boleh, 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 boleh.
Halfway through this game, Husky,
Kita main lagi jam berapa?
something clicked. Indonesia just stayed the course.
Nextnya.
I think this was more of Cambodia. I'm still struggling to figure out what Cambodia was doing.
I
Ini kan?
think the Kiwi pick was just not it.
Jam
Right?
8.
They give
Masih
themselves,
setengah lagi, coy.
they give themselves kind of a bad hand. I mean, the top, this part looked good, but Aran, he just kept healing up. And you
Ngeri
know, in terms
banget.
of early damage, there's just too much from the side of Team Indonesia. And the fact that they already had the draft advantage,
Widi, ini
you give
Widi
them a
jujur
lead like
tendangannya
that,
ngeri.
it just makes the life for
Si
Team Cambodia so much
kaliannya
harder.
telat mulu, keburu
Benefit of
ketendang
the
mulu.
doubt, like the draft, I even took at face value. I even thought to myself, this is okay, like this is winnable. But the way that they were playing, the way they were constantly throwing themselves at Team Indonesia, like a desperate romantic, like please show me attention, please love me, let me win these fights. Indonesia wasn't gonna take that. Indonesia was gonna give you their best. They were gonna reposition it. Look at this. Oh, Yezgil gets punished, but they still get the job done because
Mana
they still
ini
put
dia?
Cambodia in a very
Yang
weird
dikejar sama
position.
Pak
So
Mati anjing.
Indonesia had all of the incentive to go crazy, but Cambodia, they should have.
Ada banget kita kejar sama pedangnya.
They should have been more conservative.
Banyak
with their
debat
farm.
gede.
Yeah. This is the straw that broke the camel's back,
Oh,
right?
nih
They
satisfying
just
banget.
overstayed.
Emang itu kalau
They
mau
won a
umroh,
run and they
Oh.
end up
nungguin
losing
orang.
4
Gila,
members
satisfying banget,
in
coy.
the process. So it reaches a lot of things. I feel like at one point both teams sort of went autopilot and just brawl. But for Team Indonesia, they are going to win the brawl 10 out of 10 times. And for Team Cambodia, they kept trying to push the envelope without the right ingredients. And with this clear as day, Team Indonesia just had the better recipe.
Aran belum mati, coy. Kri.
And in the
Bonyok itu masih belum mati.
Series that played games under 13 minutes, Indonesia ended this the same way. Very, very quickly, 12:49, not even a chance for a comeback, very decisive.
Let me know.
Indonesia, they're in action again
Let
later.
me
They'll be facing
know.
off with Vietnam. I wonder where this puts Team Vietnam mentally.
I mean, knowing
Jadi
the
cuman
players of
modal
Team
itu doang ya,
Vietnam,
antivirus.
the approach is, I feel like it's going to be pretty messy as well. You know, they also are a team that likes to brawl, but a bit more systematic. I just feel like in this last game, Team Cambodia, they sort of lost focus. They still played to the style that they want, but
Kayaknya ini
with lesser
sepatu cooldown.
finesse. And that's something that I'm expecting that the Vietnamese teams is going to bring in later on. But for Team Indonesia, big morale boost after getting steamrolled in game 1. They made a comeback in game 2, and then they proceeded to steamroll Team Cambodia in game 3 for a reverse sweep. And they again winning from the draft itself is really pretty indicative on how they are feeling coming into this game and preparing for the next one.
Look at this total menace. Aran, 4-0 and 15.
Aran
I
MVP.
can't even tell you the last time I played a ranked game and that was my kill score. That was my KDA. 4-0 and 15. No one was safe. Cambodia, all of them. Even their coach, I'd say, was touched by gluling.
On an XP lane, some more, right? Like we said, the power to Aran, that third pick glue on red side basically sealed like 80% of the deal. There was nothing left for Team Cambodia to deal with. Like Beatrix and Granger got banned out in the second phase. It's just brilliance from Team Indonesia. So again, this is if it's anything for Team Cambodia to take away from, it's a lesson, right? It's a lesson in drafting. It's also a lesson on a bit of that polish of the aggression. You can play fast, but when you start overheating, that's when you start thinking about winning when it's not your time. That's where you run into trouble.
That's right. Self-awareness is key to self-progression. So
Ama ito yung mga
after this series, a series that they definitely could
Hindi
have won,
banget coy.
Cambodia
Marusog
and focus on the lessons instead of the loss and are able to come back. Again, top 2 scoring teams out of their group moves forward through this qualifier to be able to go to the playoffs, and at least Cambodia got 1 point, right? Cambodia got a point and Indonesia got 2.
Yeah, so it's not all doom and gloom for Team Cambodia just yet. They just gotta play harder, you know. Even if they just secure the second spot of the group stage, they still will qualify. But it would be nice to be in the spot that Indonesia is in right now. Not the full 3 points, but still at the top.
And there'll be another chance for Indonesia to score more because they'll be in action once again in another broadcasted match coming your way on the very same channel. You'll see Indonesia and Vietnam in another best of 3. But for now, we're going to go to a quick break. His name is Husky. My name is Leo. You're watching the Asia and Oceania qualifiers for Mobile Legends Bang Bang here in the World Esports IESF. See you in just a minute.
Cuma 20 menit doang kita breaknya sih.
Udah bisa.
Di sini.
Tapi gua nggak punya apa-apa. Oh, jadi.
Nah, 20 menit, 20 menit. Break. Gimana guys? Iya.
takut.
Oke, betul, saya balik. Janji masih ke orang itu. Seperti ini. Ya.
Awas. Di mana?
Belakang, Beb.
Bukan itu. Iya.
Lu kotak yang level
Gak ada, gue baru masuk anjir. Ini lagi nyari. Bukan.
Ini udah kasih.
mana?
Ini gak bisa di-pause.
19 menit kita Roblox dulu guys
Ini level 12.
sambil nunggu.
Ini depan gue deh. Ini depan. Lagi ya.
Sambil nunggu kita Roblox.
Nanti gede. Lu, bukan orang gitu. Lu. Jadi. Kita balik. Gak pergi lagi.
Jadi tukangnya ya.
Kini pension. Ini login kalau untuk lari mah. Enak sih jadi dia gila. Dikejar.
Kepensil sih.
Jadi baru dua kali ya orangnya dari ini. Buat dia selamat. Ini udah. Harusnya dia tahu ya.
Kameranya biar jauh gimana?
Hah?
Kameranya biar jauh?
Kalau suka gitu, nggak tahu.
Gitu?
Coba dimundurin gini, ininya. Dipencet. Nah,
Enggak, ini mah di ke atas doang.
ini cuma bisa gitu doang. Pakai ini scroll gitu.
Nggak bisa.
Dia tuh kadang suka nge-zoom sendiri kan.
Dari awal gitu.
Kayaknya ininya juga harus gede deh. Apa? Awas gua is. Ada yang bagus nih kotaknya.
Kok gue yang mati?
Tidak lagi ya. Jangan berat, boy. Rusak, boy. Kira kucing, kira orang yang berantem. Ini sedikit bunyi, kenapa? Mati sih. Ini dibongkarin.
Ini kalau ganti senjata levelnya satu lagi ya?
Iya.
Iya.
Kurang. Sini loh.
Nampak kebunuh caranya jauh itu level naiknya cepet.
Bentar lagi. Doang. Lu dia soalnya kan pengejar orang nih, kan naik. Iya. Sebelum pusing. Wah, lu ngebully level kecil udah tadi bulan berapa?
Langsung mati ya.
Aku ke orang.
Sengaja biar levelnya naiknya cepet. Dia setiap ketemu kabur nggak?
Gue jelas aja. Ya boleh. Baik tahan aja kan. Lu boleh lagi. Ini di banget.
Oh, siapa nih? Woi. Jangan ketemu gua. Wah, siapa nih?
Waktu gara-gara apa?
Buset.
Ay, gue garet ini.
Ini nggak ada kotak yang bagus sih.
Jadi di depan. Bukan di situ goblok. Kita bukan lagi. Ini aku di mobil. Di bandar dia pasti.
Ngapain sih nih orang? Ya, digocek. Gocek. Ah. Curang. Terus kita nunggu 20 menit baru mulai lagi. Gue takut. Ini paling bagus ini. Ulangi mulu ya kalau mati ya. Curang.
Kita tenang lu. Ginian doang. Itu berapa ya? Berapa 5? 2000 ini gak peduli gua. Pasti kalau 12 gua.
Ih, curang banget anjir.
Tapi kan gede yang dikit aja. ada pilihannya kan yang berapa persen gede tapi memang sedikit.
Tapi
Anjing, itu ada tuh di belakang coy.
belakang mana?
Belakang gua.
Wih,
Dia lagi ngejar-ngejar orang. Bangsat. Langsung mati, cok. Bangsat.
peralatan. Sekali gue ya. Oke, kita gimana nih?
Ah elah, ada ketemu mulu orang itu. Nyatanya sakit banget. Buset. Bang, jangan bang. Buset.
Pakai tenis. Pakai tenis tak kuat.
Ini pakai gede tau. Dihipas tuh.
Mas.
Aku juga dapat. Ini
Yang berapa?
kecil.
Berarti belum kumpulin dulu aja kotak-kotaknya.
Kan langsung dibuka kotaknya.
Ini nanti lagi ambil lagi nanti ya betul.
Kemudian udah 12 udah bisa ngomong. Gitu aja power berapa ya? Ini power juga. Ya, di belakang lagi popoy banget. Ini ya, mau ngapain ya? Tiba dia udah, tapi nggak tempat yang ini ya.
Nah lagi yang masih bagus. Ada orang pakai dan gede banget.
Buset ini. Siapa anjir? Oh, lamu. Buset, pedangnya gede banget. Anjir. Level 10. Pedangnya gede banget.
Pengen jalan nih gue itu sama maca. Ngomong gue. Yang kayak gitu enak nih, gue pengen jalan nih. Tadi kita di belakang dengan kotak.
Woi, dapat Albert gua.
Jadi Masih nggak terima mau garet trail kita. Tidak personal dia udah nanya rumput sih cari betul jadi dia udah ada level lagi guys level 5 model parah sih. Coba kotak lu kita
Mana? Mana? Oh, gitu.
Nah, Jedi namanya. Jedi. Tambah lagi masih 2 menit.
Boy.
Harus level 9 biar bisa ini.
Udah ngobrol.
Level 7 itu harus level 9 gue dapat lagi ada kotak ini soalnya yang gitu. Lama banget yang ini warna biru ini.
Itu gantung level. Tahu.
100 banget. Biar sekali potong harus berapa powernya, Kir? Berapa?
Cuy.
Gede banget. Gak mau, gue gak mau ributin ini takut. Ntar gue yang mati.
Gue cek terus. Hut. 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 Ah, mati lu. Apa yang dapat say? Makapak. Live lagi kita. Mulai lagi.
Vietnamese, how are they going to manage their
Let's
mentality?
go.
After witnessing the high tide that the Indonesians are on, and I say just treat it normal, right? Like don't overthink, don't get overwhelmed. Just play your game, and then perhaps you could force a reset.
This is one of the few times wherein Vietnam will be facing Indonesia head on, given that in our other esports events that are on the international scale, more of the ones played for club, Vietnam is placed in the wild cards. But this time they find themselves in the same group as Indonesia, that is Group B. And they're looking to equal the odds and get more points so that they can be the ones to qualify for the playoffs. This is the second match that Indonesia is playing back to back. So you just witnessed them on broadcast. They're going at it again, and they're looking to either go 2-0, or are we going to see an upset? Because I could have sworn Cambodia was going to upset Indonesia. It looked like they were.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it, right? In fact, we were all both expecting a 2-0, and that didn't happen. We ended up getting a 2-1 the other way around. But we could also say that Cambodia is also playing the second consecutive match, right? It's going to be happening off broadcast, so we're going to check in on that a little bit.
Terus stres. Vietnam siapa bos siapa?
Is fielded with veterans that I'm pretty sure a lot of us are familiar with if we've watched any tournaments on international scales or even in the wildcard realm. But up against Indonesia is a rare opportunity for them to learn and to play against the best.
Yep, the Mekong region, they are the shining stars of that said part of Southeast Asia. Again, they just recently got their own version of the Pro League, that is the VMC. But now, again, a reintroduction to the squad that played earlier tonight. That is Team Indonesia, also known as Team Liquid ID. You have Aran, Widi, Kabuki, Ju, and Yehezkiel. I think Ju is a revelation to me. I knew Kabuki had it in him, but Ju, I'm starting to like him. I'm starting to feel at home with this jungler in action for Team Indonesia.
And we saw him play, different brands of jungler, right? Like game 1 was a bit of a, okay, how is he going to play with his team? We saw that mid trio fell apart, but then when we go to game 3, he was styling on everyone with the Hayabusa. He was straight up Houdini. He was going in and out of fights. No one could find him. He was getting the right angles. He's ambushing, Team Cambodia from
Vietnam.
unexpected in a line of sight. So I agree with you. I'm starting to see the potential of this Indonesian squad coming together. We get a bit more solid data to work with.
Joga, Daylight, kena.
This veteran squad from Vietnam. Got Joga, Daylight, Nart, hey, and we also got Meow.
I think you're short a couple of hairs there, but yeah, these are the same dudes we know to represent not just Vietnam, but also the Mekong region when it comes to international MLBB. So what can we expect? Number 1, Joga, great on assassins. Number 2, Nart, he is one of those catch type roamers, so we can expect good things from him. I think it's time for this squad, also known as Legion Esports, now playing for Team Vietnam, for them to reinvent themselves. Maybe that is one way that they can shock Indonesia and shock all of the fans watching here at IESF and the Asia qualifiers. If they suddenly introduce a different brand of MLBB that works, again, not just for the sake of it, being different, a style that works, then maybe they can get away with a quick 2-0, or maybe even run it back, go all the way. I don't know, but But that's what we're looking for. We're looking for someone to stop Indonesia in their tracks, because looking at Group B, Indonesia might be a shoo-in for the playoffs.
Yeah, and not just that. This is also a slight blast to the past for fans of the authentic Legion esports, right? Because when we last saw them on an international stage, they did play with Shocker and Kramgard, who are not Vietnamese, Filipino imports at that time. But right now, we get the original squad back, and that has to be something exciting, because when Legion esports, before they even introduced the concept of imports into the team, they were tearing it up, right? They were the kings of Mekong. No one could touch them. Now we get to see that in play again.
That's right. This one's for the OG LG fans, and they're going to need your help, because even with Team Liquid, or in this case, Team Indonesia, being a different mix, they are still Indonesian MLBB athletes. They're still one of the best in the world. So Vietnam, this might be one of the ways that they step up. This might be one of the ways that they can prove that they don't just belong in the wild cards, that they belong in the big stages with the big boys, and now fighting for country. What an opportunity. The draft will begin in just a bit. Husky, let's talk about the metagame, what we can expect. I think Yusun Shin Lancelot will still be a big focus going into this match.
For sure. Not just that, I think looking at Legion esports, the way that they've been approaching the meta, they also have some pretty interesting takes on how they like to play. Like, for example, Cho is a big commodity. They really love the Cho. We've seen them rock a couple of Uranus, in their time in the latest tournament as well. But also, I think they won't shy away from something like a Novaria mid. We have seen that in play. In fact, I feel like this is the one team that is willing to experiment here and there. The Valentina,
langsung Lancelot event, yes.
At least for today. So if we're talking about Team Indonesia that has some curveball that we have seen, I think you can say the same for Team Vietnam. They also have some tricks.
Oh, there it is. Again, the first thing we mentioned about the metagame are the exact heroes that get banned. But with this kind of focus on Lancelot and Yusun Shin, the eyes are averted from another big ticket jungler that should always be respected. I don't know if the draft will warp around it, or if Vietnam or Indonesia will try to sneak it in. What about the Fanny?
That's the thing. I think Fanny is in quite a weird position, right? We've seen like Fanny getting picked up every now and then, but the loss rate for Fanny in pro games have drastically gone up in the recent time, right? So much easier to shut her down. There's a smaller margin for error. You can't just, Beyblade style on people for the first 5 minutes and end the game right then and there. It's no longer a possibility. So I think more teams are willing to gamble the Fanny if they feel confident enough, which is why that you no longer see her being, straight up a flat out ban in the first phase.
So again, nothing in the picks yet show that anyone is, gunning for the Fanny. We see the Farsa, the Baksha ban, the 1-1. Zhu Xin is still at large. Arlott, CC, these big ticket heroes. Some, not just one of them. Some of them are gonna see play. And there's the CC. So is this a first pick Zhu Xin for Yehezkiel?
Yeah, there's first pick Zhu Xin, Fanny as well. That one is also let through. It is Vietnam posing the question. While Indonesia, they don't bite, right? They go for neither of them. They go for the Arlott first pick. And I think it's a response to the CC ban, right? We saw CC ban in the previous series, and we were wondering when is this Arlott going to become a priority.
Kalau senjatanya gede itu harus dari jauh ya, Ir.
Now Indonesia, they switch it up.
Would you dare Phovius Zhu Xin? That seems to be one of the answers. All right, I'm half correct. Moscow first. Okay, no rush. No need to rush.
Indonesia very fast with the response to instant Ranger pick. Fredrin, a bit of that Fabian DNA, we've seen that happen, but the old Liquid, right? Having that Fredrin as a front line, and you just straight up bulldoze your enemy with this Ranger in the back. They haven't picked up the Mages yet, so that's going to be a big contention going into the second ban phase. It's more for Vietnam. Do you pick your jungler now as Hayabusa, or you could leave it for second phase and maybe pick up something like Akai? I can see Akai being a thing.
It's been a hot minute since we've seen Fredrin, but this is good. I like how Indonesia are so sure of their approach into game number 1 against Vietnam. I'd say if they want Akai, pick it now, because if not, Akai is gonna get banned in the second phase, and Akai does well against Fredrin. But instead, they wanna prioritize the Lapu Lapu, which is understandable. You wanna win against the Phovius, rather the Arlott. So what does Vietnam do? They banned
Yeah, but
Ronda
hold on,
Esmeralda here. So they're not convinced that the Arlot is going to be in the XP lane.
I feel like knowing the players, knowing
Lapu,
people like
lapu.
Willy, on Team Indonesia, there's going to be some tricks up his sleeves, right? Like Willy is never an honest man. He's wise, but he's not honest. He has a lot of fake out picks. So I do like the respect that Team Vietnam is giving. At least you cover your bases, and if this is not with the Arlot, at least your Lapu Lapu gets a better lane to play into.
So Indonesia's turn to ban out. I'd say take out those junglers, man. There's the Fanny again, as mentioned. That's one of Joga's favorites. I'd reckon red 5 ban should be an Akai. Vietnam, not sure. Mid laner, maybe.
They could still ban mid laner. Something that works well. Fredrin with a setup. No
Kimmy?
Farsa. The Kimmy double marksman again. We saw how that played out early on. We still do ban a Kimmy. Okay.
Okay. I'm surprised at how well I'm reading this draft. Something tells me I should do this for a living.
So
it's
is this the Akai again? Is this the Akai ban?
Yeah. Oh, the Joy. Alright, so they're more threatened about the burst. Because again, Vietnam's damage profile is pretty weird right now. So they'll allow the Akai, if it is the Akai. But instead they lock in a roamer first. So there's the Badang. I still don't like the damage profile, Husky. I'll tell you now. This is still very... I'm underwhelmed by the amount of damage they can dish out.
Yeah, they actually don't have much damage. They have a lot of crowd control. You know, they can stun lock you, but it's not enough to take you out. Right? So even I guess they want to see what the remainder of the draft is. They want to see where this Arlot is gonna go before they decide whether the Akai is a good choice. There is a bit of anti-synergy thing going on. There's like synergy and anti-synergy, right? And you, on one hand, you have a Badang wall builder with the Akai heavy spin, but at the same time, if you use it wrongly, you push your enemies away from the Lapu and Sin, and then it becomes a bit of a headache for Vietnam to deal with.
Yep, and it doesn't solve the problem of the damage. Now Indonesia have a healthy amount of damage, so they just invest in so much crowd control. There's the Gatot Kacha throwing it into the roam, I'm 99% sure. And then the Eve. Okay, so there's a solid kill box and zoning potential for Indonesia. What goes into the hands of Joga here?
This is already looking very scary from Indonesia. Any minor crowd control can easily be followed up. Right? Like if Joe catches you, there can be instant RWM, instant AOG. There's so many ways for Team Indonesia to start a fight. And for Vietnam, they don't really have a way to respond. It's either you all in, or you don't engage at all. Right? So Hayabusa is definitely the better choice right now.
It seems like the only choice, given the metagame and what they drafted themselves into. So it looks like it's not about the amount of damage or the damage profile they're dealing. It's just how well they can acquire targets. So this is a very pick-off-centric lineup for Vietnam. And against a team like Indonesia, who has clearly more experience, they decided to invest in team fighting. This is Vietnam's gambit.
It is, and usually when you see these kind of archetypes of drafts, it feels very linear, right? We have a weird mix of damage profile, but we have just enough to get a snowball going, and the condition is we have to get the ball rolling. And if we drop the ball somewhere and Indonesia picks it up, they're gonna run away. They're gonna shoot a half-court shot, and then the game starts going out of control. In this case, for Vietnam, they are running on a timer.
Yep, it's tricky because they only have so many choices to make. If we don't win and we don't snowball out of control, how do we win from a losing position, right? How do we not lose?
Oke, kita main dulu. Ya, oke.
Because their lineup isn't very good on the defense. They suck at clearing waves. So now going into game one, this is a vibe check. This is a test of a measure of exactly how prepared Vietnam is to face against a powerhouse team that is Team Indonesia.
I think discretion is the key. You can't look to force too much. I think they really have to pick the fights and cut the losses when things don't go their way. In a long run-out fight, even though you have someone like a Sin and Badang, they can fight forever. You can sort of say the same for Indonesia, and they do even better, right? Fredrin, they could keep on going until Vietnam runs out of gas. You got Kacha as well, so much sustain just in the front line alone.
Yeah, which makes this whole we are focused on team fighting. approach. So
Okay.
much more fragile for Team Vietnam. Looking at the lane to lane here, Team Vietnam keeping it to their side of the map, and it's so much faster for Kabuki to clear waves and to even check slightly off. That's why he's not so worried. That's why he's not asking for Witty to rotate.
Not only that, when the game goes late and teams start to gravitate towards bigger fights, setups are so much easier, easily achievable for Team Indonesia, just because you have something like a final slash and Nard
Wah, ini gua nih.
as compared
Coba apa
to
ya?
Vietnam that needs to be in your face. Like Nard probably has to land some sick flicker, fist crack. If not, then you are at the mercy of Indonesia jumping you when you least expect it.
Yep. Here we go. Massive presence here down bottom by Team Indonesia as they set up for the first turtle take. Not allowing for them to cross the threshold too much. Is that a real... Yep, there it is.
Pelat,
Yes,
pelat
has
ya.
the real
Oh, dapet.
manipulation. Now it's go time.
Turtle takes are going to be always in favor of Indonesia. Like Nard walks up, sure you find Aran. Joga is going to try, instantly taunted up with by the taunt. And the
kena.
slam from Joe, easy first blood for Witty. Nothing much can be done. This fight pretty much concluded.
Dia mau
Turtle for
pakai
Team
itu
Indonesia,
dong.
2 kills for them. Tries to go for
Entry.
number 3.
Mau pakai.
RWM drop down. It's gonna be the hey,
Gue
running
makan
away
dulu
with
guys, sorry
Purify.
guys, sebentar guys.
And Aran still goes
Aran
in.
gila.
Flickers follows up. 3 dead for Team Vietnam.
Sampai
And a
gini aja.
purple buff to boot.
There wasn't very much he could do. Because again, his front line wasn't there anymore. And I'll tell you now, Husky, the team fight started even before... Oh, it ended even before it started. And Joga goes down again! And R2! Oh, gosh.
Is it too early to go? That's the 6th kill in 3 minutes. Is it early to call it? It's almost a 4K goal, Leo. It's like with 3.7? I can't count. 3.3K goal lead.
Math. I'd say just the way that Vietnam are walking into what Indonesia want them to walk into, and how Indonesia throw no caution to the wind and don't get punished. I'll tell you now, if it's not over, it's close to it. Narc gets popped here. The SOD thrown out by Daylight. I don't know what the plan is.
It looks pretty done. Like usually I don't. I give it the benefit of doubt, but I feel like we can call this pretty early. It's a 4K goal lead, almost 5K, and not only that, we say that Vietnam they're on a timer. Well, it just got fast tracked. I think the window has sort of closed.
Yep. Team Indonesia denied Vietnam these team fights. They denied them the entry into the battles, and Aran misses the final slash there, but to little punishment. I'm pretty sure that wasn't very painful to him. And there you go, AOG coming in.
And it's just a straight up massacre in the jungle. They pull Joe back, keeps it under the turret. Okay, doesn't get slammed and appraisals wrap, so they finally get a shutdown somehow. SOD does miss. A small price to pay for Team Indonesia. They still got everything, right? Top tier 1 is already down. Kabuki shoves a wave underneath the tier 2. Mid tier 1 is getting threatened. And I mean, like, if you are the Lapu now, wave underneath the tier 2, mid tier 1 is getting threatened, and I mean, like, if you are the Lapu now, you are feeling so terrible. Like, Meow, he's forced to leave lane and he's getting terrorized by Aran.
Poor Meow. Oh man. Alright, here's the thing.
Arannya
What
monster
are the
banget,
items
yes.
on Kabuki? Because I just saw about 20 seconds ago, 15-20 seconds, he built his Sky Piercer. Did he just fast track that thing before building the Did he?
No.
Oh no, he already has the Hunter Strike. What?
He's so he saw what was done earlier on by Zing, and he's like, I can do it faster. Give me a good lead, and wow, and he just takes out Daylight on a lane with the help of Witty too. Second turtle for Indonesia. This game has completely spiraled out of control. Almost a 5.5K goal lead, 5.5 minutes in.
Nah,
There's
udah mulai
no
rapi nih.
space.
Dia grogi kayak match pertama cuy.
jungle, it doesn't feel safe.
This is a clinic put on by Team Indonesia. I knew that there was a gap in their experience, and the possible execution, but I didn't expect it to be put on exhibition this way, Leonardo here That's Kabuki gets caught and doesn't get killed by Joga. And instead Joga gets punished.
Bro, Leonardo.
No way. That is how far behind Joga was. He even pressed his flame retribution, and he still did not get the kill. Warcry flame retribution, and I believe a full stack for the shadow kill too. I mean, Kabuki took it like a man. He stood it. He stood there, and he just fired away.
Wait,
Another purple buff gone.
hold up. Kabuki had a flicker, and not a single time in that fight did I feel like he was gonna use it.
Yeah.
He was ready to take that to the chin. And that's what explains this.
Udah,
What is
udah.
it now? A 6K,
Udah.
7K gold lead?
Cek ya,
So 7K goal lead.
Approaching 8. Approaching 8.
kayaknya nggak tahu.
Sholat ya.
It's not slowing down. And orange buff is gone. That's a full
Jadi aku
combo.
mau niaga
And
tahu.
Joe barely feels it.
Galat ya.
Nggak niaga tahu.
This Lapu,
Iwan.
oh my goodness. This Lapu is not getting to play the game at all. He's level 7. Level 7, he is dead broke. I'm pretty sure he
Tapi
only has one
tinggal
item.
terakhir.
Big RWM up top. Everyone forced
Ibu
back.
susah tapi
Only
pendek.
shield popped 7
Cuman
minutes
4
into the
checkpoint
game.
gitu.
Okay. So let's consider
Oke.
worst case scenario.
Coba ini.
What if Vietnam are able to extend this? Is Daylight capable of pulling this back? Can Daylight get enough farm on him, and how long might it take for this to even be contestable? For this to be an actual fight?
15 minutes and beyond, I guess.
I'll say that's even optimistic. That is glass very half full. Daylight able to get the push here, so that's some leeway, some breathing room for the Vietnamese squad. But I think Indonesia are treating this turtle like a lord. They're gonna turn this final turtle into a pivot point.
Yeah, whereas for Team Vietnam, they are just using their holy shields as a
Ah,
resource,
jadi
as a
ini.
tool to give themselves a bit more space.
Kurang agresif
Waiting
gini.
with the conceal.
Set.
Hey,
Ah, kena.
completely out of position. Get
Flicker
flipped
tadi.
off. We have to use the Crimson Beacon to get away.
Belum flicker, dah belum flicker. Lot,
Daylight
lot, lot,
carry,
lot,
get a
lot,
push
lot.
going, a run to the defense.
Sini udah
and-
flicker, lot, 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 lot.
There's a Lord spawn. I think Indonesia can easily
it
take
is.
this Lord.
Literally, Husky didn't even treat it like a lord. They turned it into a lord, and they're gonna go for the throat here. They're gonna
Panah,
let it
shoot,
spawn in
panah.
time, 8:45, and then go for it. What is the lead now at? Oh my god, approaching 10.
Yeah, 10K at before 10 minutes is a little death sentence. There's I don't know. I feel like if there's any way for Team Vietnam to have a chance, you catch someone off guard, but you have to start throwing bodies, right? You throw Nar, you
Wait,
throw
check.
Meow at them, and then maybe have Joga and Daylight pick up the kill. But even
this
that
is-
is a misask.
Yep, and this is assuming that Team Indonesia take it lying down. That they all just let go of their phones. Now that's two get caught.
And Daylight gets popped just like that.
Daylightnya udah
Fresh
ini,
POV,
udah
I think,
purify
for
sama
Kabuki. Daylight's gonna be back in
Skill
20 seconds,
satu.
but a lot can be done in 20
Langsung
seconds. No
diuji.
holy defense.
Enak tuh ini.
Top and mid inhibitor. And Lore still casually pushing bot. And Joe just walks up in front. That's the first inhibitor now. Joga with the quick shadow kill. That's basically nothing aside from clearing out the wave.
Again, Vietnam are just throwing all their resources out to survive.
Good.
This is not where you want to be with a team fighting lineup. Indonesia are knocking down on your doors. There's a conceal.
And they take out Nart. Yo, Padang disappears. They are looking for Joe, but even that can't get him. Meanwhile, Kabuki just straight up runs down 3 members of Team Vietnam. That's a triple kill for him. And
Siapa?
there really isn't much that can be
Oh,
done.
okay.
The main for Kabuki.
Maniak, sepek, sepek, sepek.
The Savage. Can they do it? The
Nggak dikasih.
RWM? Nope, not given by Daylight. But still, Indonesia will take the win.
Maniak, Kabuki.
10 minutes on the dot. I'm uncomfortable calling this even a contest, Husky. From the first engagement, it seemed like Vietnam wasn't ready at all. This is a boxer walking into the ring without his gloves.
And Team Vietnam showed up and realized that they were in the wrong weight class. As Indonesia just piled on them. There really wasn't, like you said, there wasn't any chance. Like,
Itu aja.
you wouldn't expect something interaction like this to happen, like before the 4-minute mark. And yet here we are, 4 minutes in, both sides of the jungle invaded by Team Indonesia. They were casually running down everyone, from Vietnam, and then you have that
Lawan
Joga
siapa,
movement.
Beb?
It's not a contest at all, man.
So, one thing to consider as to how we ended up at this point in the match, 1-0, Indonesia at match point, is the draft is just so much better. I think we talked about that, right? We mentioned how the kill box is a little more
Okay,
secure,
what?
a lot more secure for Indonesia. Their damage profile is there. Again, you can burst, you can DOT, you can sustain. CC is so reliable, you know? Like, AOG sets things up. There's a box with the RWM, the taunts, the final slashes, the vengeance. Is it really just that, or is there a way that Vietnam could have played their way into a match that looked like an actual match?
I think if assuming that they are both even, right? There's no 10k lead with Indonesia, then I think it would be down to Joga sneaking to the back line and having both Miao and Nart start the fight. Like, I think the one way Team Vietnam's draft could work is if they pull Team Indonesia apart, right? Because they have many ways to come in from weird angles, like the Moskov SOD, the quad shadows from the Hayabusa. This game ends, and I mean, you look at Joga's item, man. He's broke. Like, I'm broke, but he's more broke. He only got a Hunter Strike and a Legion Sword.
That kind of item layout was what was Kabuki rocking in about 4 minutes. That still was very impressive. I don't know how fast he got there. It looked like at 4:30, he got boots, Hunter Strike, and Sky Piercer. That's got to be some sort of record, because usually in competitive matches, you see that kind of layout at about 5.5 minutes, maybe even approaching 6. But here he got it under 5.
And it's not like Kabuki participated in a lot of the early fights, right? I feel like he was just straight up laning, and everyone else is fighting. Man, he probably was just double laning because of how far the team was. That's the only way I could think of for him to reach that item timing that fast.
Bisa pas gitu 10 menit.
And he is our ATM. He's hitting what? 11,000 gold, 11.2 divided by 10. Safe to say he was farming about 1,000 and change per minute.
Yeah, he was straight up just printing. He was just printing dough. He's just taking everything. Everything is given to him. He doesn't have to worry about anything. His team is doing all the heavy lifting, and he's just there. He's just getting spoon fed. That's a dream game for a gold laner.
And it's a dream game that he played, all right? Like, we would not get to this point if they were not excellent in their execution. So now we give time to Team Vietnam to gather themselves and reapproach this match. Again, Indonesia at match point. And we give Indonesia time to recalibrate and look back at how they played very well. You're watching the best of 3 between Team Indonesia and Team Vietnam. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Break dulu, break. Menit. Tunggu dulu ya. Oke ya. Tapi kalau nggak mau ya. Deal.
Apa?
Kalau nggak mau berarti nggak mau.
Ya enggak, kok mau deket.
Enggak, aku juga gitu berarti nanti. Deal. Mau nggak mau nggak mau.
Boleh, papa.
Enggak.
Boleh.
Mau bilang aku nggak mau.
Cobain, kalau
Enggak.
kamu cobain.
Enggak, aku bilangnya nggak mau. Deal.
Nanti aku tahu kalau aku pakai kamu.
Udah. Deal aja, deal.
Enggak.
Deal, nggak boleh curang. Try. Ya guys. Astagfirullahaladzim. Iya duluan.
Ya. 9 pagi.
Hah?
9 pagi.
Jam apa?
Jam 7 sampai jam 10. Jadi sesuai rantai. Jadi kan saya mau pagi. Nggak bisa.
Ambil nomor.
Tetap ngantor.
Ini tutup lagi tahu. Kalau nggak kering.
Nggak lihat sama.
Yang dibuat. Sampai nggak mau lepel tuh. Nah, halaman kebuka. Nah, halaman kebuka. Makan. Deal ya. Ih. Curang masa guys. Yes. Yes. Yes, it is. Let's go, satu game lagi. Udah aku kasihin. Tuh, udah spesies.
What's up? You're watching the game between Team Indonesia and Team Vietnam. My name is Leo, this is Husky, and we're still figuring out exactly what went wrong because in that 10-minute match, so much happened, yet very little was shown by the squad from Vietnam.
Yeah, it's a 10-minute match, but it basically condensed, right? Could have been condensed into the first 3 minutes that we saw. Vietnam, they never really had control of the game. It felt like they were lost. They were thrown into the unknown, and they didn't know how to respond. Right, the draft made sense. I think Team Vietnam has some ideas. They probably realized that the draft favors Team Indonesia slightly more, but the gameplay, that's where the power gap was. Hit them like a brick. They just did not know how to deal with it.
I'd like to think it's less of a power gap and more of just a lack of preparation, because this is just my theory, right, as to why this happened. We agree that Vietnam's draft was very team fight centric, right? They win when they fight, and they win if they pick you off. What if they were engaged on too soon? What if, is that even a thing? Like, now as it's coming out of my mouth, I'm like questioning how plausible this is. What if they were waiting to be the ones who were the initiators, and then they caught off guard, and then they just did not know how to respond? They don't know how to play from behind. Like, that's what I'm trying to say here, because folks, in case you didn't know, this is not the most recent version of Legion Esports or of Team Vietnam. Like, this is an OG lineup that hasn't played for what, almost 6 months.
Yeah, I think around 6 months. But I feel like I think you hit the nail on the head. They just didn't know how to respond. Maybe the idea of approaching that game was different. Maybe they were waiting to make the first move, and perhaps their understanding of what the draft needed to do was different from what was practically feasible, and that's why they kind of got caught off guard. But that's also kind of the identity of the Vietnamese teams, right? We've seen them play. This is how they like to draft. They like to get scrappy. They like to fight. It's just they got shut down so fast that they didn't really get to show that brawly side. I feel like that Fredrin pick was a big deterrent for any sort of I want to fight you early. So I want to see if they can adjust to it. I think that Fredrin from Team Indonesia really was a big deterrent.
Yep. So now going into this draft, and again, in an effort to take us to Game 3, would it be wrong for Team Vietnam to play less into team fights? Would it be to their benefit if they played a little closer to the chest and drafted a more fundamental lineup without, committing too heavy into one direction? Because if that's the problem, if that's what happened here in game number 1, that they were just too team fight heavy and they lost that opportunity and they did not know what to do from there, what if they just, drafted a Farsa? What if they drafted a Moskov? Tried to get their hands on a Fredrin, like if Joga isn't as careful, because you have to admit, like, folks, you watch the same game as we did, Joga was a little reckless with that Hayabusa.
He was. I think they had the recipe already, right? I think the previous draft allowed them to play into pickoffs, and kind of separate the enemy lineup given the right conditions. We had, like, when Kalea was open, they never really considered that. So the far side, I believe, was banned out in game 1. So I think they could lean to that. Maybe if they go blue side, then they have more incentive. I feel like even if the Kalea gets picked up rather than the Badang, they would have had a way to deal with whatever Indonesia had, right? Because we had a lot of frontline, but Kalea Beatrix could solve part of the problem. But the Badang was kind of like the safe pick that they went with, and maybe it might have just been too safe.
All right, I'm getting real panicky about this because I've never seen a game played on this level to that effect. Because we know these teams. We know I would have been more accepting or understanding if it's a team that we did not know. Like if it came from some weird region that has never played MLBB esports on this level, but we know Vietnam. We know Indonesia. There should have been more of a fight in game 1. So here's another alternative. What if they pick heroes that aren't necessarily currently hot in the metagame? Not your Badangs, not your Arlots, not your Chos, not your Matildas, but what if you go to like a newly buffed hero, a newly reworked hero, like a Grok, like a stopper? Wouldn't that be better? Like you would be able to control the ebb and flow of team fighting. You're able to initiate when you're ready. You're able to stop your opponent in their tracks if necessary. These are the ways I can see how Team Vietnam can make this a little more competitive.
I think the only team that's been
mulai.
Team Indonesia, right? And we know that the Vietnam lineup, they also have that up their sleeves. If there's any time to do it, this is the game, right? It's all for the marbles. You're not going to face Indonesia after this, so you might as well get a point if you can. Just keep your chances alive and not let Indonesia walk away with a fat 3 points. That's going to put them 5 points in the standings alone. So Drusin, Fanny, Yi Sun Shin, 1-1, the usual bans. Lancelot probably is going to get banned out next too.
Or not. Because compared to the Lancelot, compared to the Hayabusa, the Lancelot has an easier way of getting out of these, pickles in the land of Dawn. So that's what's happening now. Look at this. The Baksha gets banned. So now, there it is. All right, never mind. Indonesia wasn't going to let it through.
Yep. Even if they dominated the first game, they still are not willing to take that risk. That's how scary Lancelot is. So we did get the CC first pick finally. After 5 games, we get to see the CC being picked up. Let's see what the value of the CC is. We saw the first phase Arlet that ended up going into the XP lane. They still will do it, Arlet and Farsa.
There it is. The 2 best heroes in the XP lane today, Arlet and CC. And then Indonesia, they know how to really stick it here to
Jadi
Vietnam.
awalnya
Look
tuh
at
gak
the
ada yang tahu
Farsa.
ya kalau mereka
So
cerai.
there's a
Tapi gara-gara
chat,
di
sure to
tempat
go into
sidang
the
itu
role.
adalah tempat sidangnya si Andre Tawani.
What else does Vietnam need?
Kebetulan sidangnya
play it
barengan.
safe.
Waktu
And
kalau
this is good.
tiap
Again,
nama
take away
pemohon atau
Kabuki's
sidang apa
Ranger.
segala macam kan dipanggil
So
kan.
Vietnam
Tapi
already
beneran
looking so much
namanya.
better.
Hmm.
First phase in alone.
Jadi
There's
pas
still
banget
a
lagi ada
Moskov
wartawan.
if you want, right? Moskov is the next option on the table.
Which you
Either
should.
that-
I think that's the right pick. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should go Moskov. Unless they want to, take a backseat a little bit, and they could just, 4 or 5 o'clock. They seems like that's gonna be the case. They go for the Akai this time. Man, Indonesia keeps throwing out, new picks.
Okay. I cannot put a finger exactly on why they went for the Akai fast, but Indonesia are hell-bent on protecting said Akai by banning out even the Valentina. They're avoiding a Beyblade X situation here of 2 heavy spins. And Vietnam read into it. Wow. Husky, you called it. There's a quad ban.
I expect the Moscow ban to come after this, right? You ban the Moscow, maybe you force them into a Harry Bruno. I think it's a lot more manageable overall.
Or carry.
Okay, carry is also one way. Or there is a world where they take a Beatrix and then they last pick Kalea, right? Beatrix Kalea can still be a thing for Team Indonesia. There's a lot of permutations with this sequence that they have had as compared to what Team Vietnam has shown us so far.
I like it. Indonesia, they put themselves in a very open position by first picking the Akai in the first phase, instead of like a gold laner right then and there or a roamer right then and there. Vietnam, what's the ban? Moskov, Harith. There it is, Moskov. It's gonna be. But yeah, no. If Indonesia pick a Harith here, might be a little too heavy on the magic. So maybe they do go for the Beatrix Bruno, or Beatrix Bruno Gambit. They get the Bruno.
Yeah, I mean either or is going to pan out. There goes the Angela Alice, good old pup stomping composition, but if done correctly, can actually run down Indonesia before they come online.
I get it. Desperate times call for desperate measures. You got rolled in game 1 like that in 10 minutes. You bring out the cheese. All right, nothing beats. No. Queso. All right, this is a pocket pick, and oh my lord, Indonesia brings out their own.
Oh,
Estes in the hands of Witty. Who is Coach? Say De Lucas, what is going on?
SDO is cooking, man. Well, that changes everything, right? Angela Alice, you want to play the long game? Estes does exactly the same thing.
This is
even better
stressing me out.
Even better yet, if they want to stick onto someone, Joe can just heavy spin them away.
Okay, you're looking at this glass half full, Husky. I'm looking at it glass half empty. Half of Indonesia's roster does not interact with the Estes.
Yeah. The
Arlet is neck deep in your opponent's lineup. The Akai, as you mentioned, is rolling people out of the way, so he's gonna be away from the Estes. It's really just the Bruno and the Farsa that directly benefit from the Estes. Where did this come from?
Maybe that's the game plan, right? Like the Alice wants to dive the back line, we just keep the back line healthy.
Right, keep it like a compact unit. Okay, so there is some logic to the melee we're about to witness. Method to the madness, if you will. Coach Dali, Coach De Lucas. I hope this pays off, man, because if not, you're gonna have to take it all the way again. You're at match point. Team Indonesia, 1 win away from sweeping Team Vietnam. Can Vietnam's Angela-centric lineup take us all the way?
I have a feeling we've seen this Angela Alice before, but it's from the Mekong region, right? But it's not done by this team. It was done by a separate team from the same region, and they barely won that match. And it's just because the Alice was too hard to take down. But the solution was shown that the game goes late enough. If you have enough damage, if you can't peel the Alice away, you can still outlast this insane moving fountain combo in lane.
So here we see a babysitting duo from both sides. Indonesia, I'll call their duo the more sustainable one. Look at how Weedy is just topping up Kabuki and forcing the issue. Something tells me both teams would do best to pick up their anti-heal very, very soon. Oh, Flicker spent!
Oh, okay. Very early resource. They traded for the Vengeance and the Flicker. So I guess it's still a mini win for Team Indonesia, right? Two battle spells for the cost of 1. And Iran can easily heal back up with the Vengeance, so not too big of a problem. Bottom lane being shoved in by Team Vietnam. All things considered, they're holding on pretty well. A taunt, instant heal out from Witty. Kabuki is just enjoying life. Heavy spin, first blood.
Ya udah, clear. Udah mati duluan mah.
Heavy spin, suddenly. I'm thinking it might have come up again with
Iya.
hitting level 4 without expecting. Oh, and then just as we left the EXP lane,
Dah,
Meow
tulit.
gets taken out, and this does
Tulit,
all but
tulit.
secure the Lord for Team Indonesia.
Wah,
They're
udah.
not done.
Tulit.
Gets killed too.
Oh man, Yehescu hits level 4 off of the second kill and converts it into a third too. Mid Angela has always been a big
Udah.
gambit. You play
Udah
mid
swing
Angela,
jungle ya.
you better make sure one of your side lane pops off, and in this case, both the side lanes are getting popped. I mean, Kabuki is running under tier 1 with Winnie supporting him, and Winnie still has the ult if ever. So Kabuki gets free go, Team Indonesia up on the board, 2k lead.
Mind you, this is even before Indonesia have gone full ube. They have been compact units spread across the map, and none of them have been killed. None of them even put in any slight proximity to danger, and they're pushing in hard. Look at this, Ju pushing back 3-4 members of Vietnam.
So here comes Joga with the help of the hard guard.
Mati
He's
dong.
not doing enough. He actually gets destroyed. Even with the hard guard, it's just insufficient. Heavy spin pin. That's double
Ya,
kill
udah
for
nih, En.
Yehescu.
Udah.
And it's dead too. So that's another 3 for Team
Gatot
Indonesia.
ini yang
6-0
apa?
up in terms of kills. And man, Daylight is just level 4. He is not playing the game at all.
Alisnya udah mati duluan udah.
Deja vu.
GG.
If anything, Indonesia have even more incentive
Kehilangan
to push it all the
power
way,
spike
play so
early.
much faster than they did in game number 1, because this is a snowball lineup. Kabuki can run away and just keep taking down turrets. AOJ!
Lands on the 2 as a feather air
Ya
strike.
didorong sama Chin.
Finally
Lagi ulti
take
tuh.
out Aran, but they
Di
need more than
Ezekiel.
just one. Unfortunately, that's all they get. Aran for nothing.
Okay, so finally on the board is Team Vietnam. Gold shields getting ruined. In comes Joga!
And baton on
Nah,
Joe. He uses the heavy
nah.
spin to pin Joga into the wall. And Kabuki is hitting like a goddamn freight train.
Kabuki.
Everyone from the side, Team Vietnam running away. Flickers fall for Winnie to save his teammate, and that's gonna
Kabuki.
give Kabuki a double kill. He wants
Hell,
more. Flicker
go.
forward, finds a big kick, and the worldie a triple takedown for Kabuki.
Team
Ngamuk
Indonesia
Kabuki guys.
calling the shots
Guys,
clearly in
guys.
the driver's seat as they take their second turtle.
Mau bilang gol sama guys,
Honestly, I've seen it
nyampur.
once and I'm
Mati lagi dong dia.
Wait, hold up. Joga goes 2v1. I don't think this is wise.
It
Udah.
was not even close, man. I feel like Aran probably went for damage. I mean, I would. If I'm in Aran's position, I would go full damage this game. He just got the
I-
oracles too.
Bisa GG
I
gak sih?
appreciate how you're
Hey.
trying to understand what's
Suren,
going on,
udah.
but we're very close. This is very similar to game number 1. Remember how Joga just threw himself
Beda 2.000
at Kabuki?
mulutnya udah
This is the
berat.
same situation.
He's gonna do it again.
Udah dong.
And he's
Mati
dead, man.
lagi.
He's dead. Joga, please stop doing that. Kabuki mega kill. They went to feather S
Wah.
right, and that's Yehescu fighting a long range snipe onto Daylight.
Joga, heed our words, please. All the more now, alright? Consider this, folks watching at home, hear me out. All the more now, holding out till the late game might actually change Vietnam's fortunes. You know what I mean? You're playing with an Angela Alice. There will come a point wherein you build enough items
Wait, bentar.
that you can get killed. Here's a start.
Curtain call into AOG. Maybe there's an opportunity. They
Ini kalau dia
finally take
bisa,
out Yehescu.
enggak bisa.
Trying to cut the losses and get out of there because one is all that they would get. The cost of 4 triple kill for
Kalau blunder
Leonardo
tuh tadi ini
Kabuki.
gitu.
Like you know that the game has truly spiraled out of control when 9 out of 10 times Joker goes in. His Angela didn't even bother using the hard guard on him.
Ya,
Nope.
kecuali ini blunder
Died
parah banget
faster
nih.
than the hard guard could
Ini
have been
kayaknya
picked.
udah nggak bisa
And
sih.
already Indonesia are
Tinggal
inside the
level.
base.
Oh, digebok.
Excuse
Oh,
me. 6
digebok.
minutes. I thought I misread it at 8.
Digebok.
Down goes Joga.
Digebok.
Another one.
Not again,
Wah.
Joker. You do not have the support of your team. This game's gonna end at 8 minutes, Leo. And there's
It's
a
like
good chance.
Joga's speaking a different language.
There are 2 waves. Another feather
Yeah.
airstrike, artillery, and a heavy spin almost takes out Hey, and he still dies anyways.
Yeah.
It is 7 minutes,
Tuh,
below 7 minutes, and
56 ya.
Indonesia has that's just 2-0 Team Vietnam.
Fail. Draftnya fail ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, 3 points
Gak
on
bisa
the
kepick
board.
duluan.
A clean sweep by Indonesia.
Riskan
I
banget.
must
Dia
say, this
pakai
is the fastest
alis
game of Mobile Legends Bang Bang I've seen
untuk game ini ya.
in half a decade. 6 and
Nah, itu udah.
55,
Ya,
I
di
think is
situ
the
udah.
actual count.
Pas kena first blood
Husky.
alis sudah beres.
What did we see? What did we watch?
I feel like they might need to delist this game from you know whatever platform this is streamed on, because this is not safe for work. This is straight up.
Tur.
Criminal.
It's straight up a brutalization. Like, I mean, obviously they were great plays. I mean, all of the great plays are from Indonesia, but we also had Joga moments where he just
We'll call it that. We'll call it that.
he just stopped caring. I guess.
It looked like they had a solid plan. The first couple of times he did it, at least had the courtesy of going, all right, we'll hearth guard. Maybe it works. And then at some point, the hearth guards just stopped coming.
This was that moment. This death, they clearly had the hard guard. They had time, he just never used it. Well, they saved it for this moment. They got one for the price of 4, and yeah, the rest is history. So game 1, Indonesia popped the Holy Shield, or an inhibitor, at 7 minutes. Game 2, they popped the Crystal under 7 minutes. That's how big of a difference, you know, both game 1 and game 2. I thought it could not have gone any faster, but apparently I was dead wrong.
Yeah, this is the beauty of the Bruno. Again, I think even pre-pandemic,
Completely
Bruno is
destroyed.
one of those heroes that if you let snowball, his damage output is just unlike any other. And
Gila,
Kabuki
Windy
knows
masih
that
16.
because Kabuki built Sky Piercer on his Bruno, so he knows that I can just start killing people. I can just start whacking y'all, and the whole Estes didn't even get punished. Estes
Beres Indo.
did what he could
Yes.
to ride the wave and just
Indo berarti poin 1.
top up Farsa, top up
Dia
Bruno,
dapet 2
call it a
poin.
day.
Besok lanjut lagi jam
16. I think he has been
6
every single
lawan Laos.
fight this game.
Melawan
100% kill participation.
Guam.
And not only that,
Seharusnya
his net worth
isi
is
win ya.
higher than the entire team.
Udah.
Every single member
Di-
of Team Vietnam.
Harusnya bisa sih.
Oof.
Apa?
Husky,
Puncak klasemen, jadi nanti ketemunya
more kills than happened
peringkat
without
2
winning.
kayaknya
That's how
Myanmar.
bad it was across the map.
Filipina kan nomor 1. Jadi nanti ketemunya Myanmar.
Ah,
Baru di final
So
lawan
there were 4 unaccounted for.
Malaysia ikutan nggak sih?
we didn't even get
Oh,
to be a
Malaysia
part
udah
of it.
lanjut.
Yeah, 4 that happened were in
Kok nggak ada Malaysia?
even nearby. 657 is the actual count.
Ya,
How the game has been tweaked to a point where
Malaysia
this
masuk.
should not be possible.
I smell another
Ah,
bad
masuk Malaysia,
after
coy.
this.
Apa kalah?
We
Yang
literally
baru
buffed
ini.
the jungle so that clears are slower, so that you don't get to pull off shenanigans
Nggak
like
ikutan dia.
cheeky invade, some great snowball, we're delaying, you know, some power spikes early game, and still we get this sub 7-minute game. If this wasn't
Turret-
broadcasted, no one would believe it.
Turrets got
Oh.
more life, all right? They give more HP to turrets. And still,
Spins tuh nggak ada timnya. Akhirnya ini.
folks, Team Indonesia is the real
Iya,
deal.
saya boleh
But
cek.
that or Team Vietnam is under the weather, or I'll give you one more option. Their group is just stacked like that, and Team Indonesia finds themselves at the apex of Group B. They're on top right now, 2-0.
Siap WC 2024.
I would dare say that Indonesia is
Keluar
going to
aja
get
kita lalu.
I don't think they are going to be too worried
Oh iya
about
juara
the rest of the
kan.
matchup. They still got
Oh udah kalau
rounds.
juara malah SWOT bisa
But
dipakai.
you know, compared to Cambodia and Vietnam, Cambodia came the closest, and that worked out in Indonesia's favor. They just 2-0 Vietnam, which we before the series thought had a slight chance, and that went out the window very quickly 5 minutes into the first game. So yeah, I think Indonesia, they are through playoffs. That is I'm that confident.
Tokyo.
Yeah, the question is who will be second, because there might be some level of upsets happening in the off-broadcast matches going on for Group B. We'll find
Betul
out
ya,
in
tak.
just a bit. But for now, folks, that is the end of our matches, and that is the end of this broadcast for the most part. And Husky, we're gonna call it a day. I still cannot find words to describe what we just watched.
Me
Exactly.
neither. Like the game ended so fast. I'm still in the process of processing what just happened. But I guess just like Legion Esports, we have to sleep on it, right? Sleep on what just happened.
Yep.
And take our time to really let it simmer.
Yep. We
Okay.
wish you the best, and I hope that in the
Malaysia
next
berarti
game
nunggu
we
langsung
regroup and find a way
2
how to
tahun
come
lalu
back
sama
through the groups and make it
nggak
into the
perlu
playoffs.
qualifying,
Same goes for
ngapain
all the
coy.
teams in Group B and in Group A. Once again, you've been watching the Asia and Oceania qualifiers for the World
Oke,
Esports
segitu dulu aja guys.
IESF qualifiers for mobile.
Terima kasih yang udah
His name is Husky. My name is
join, yang udah mampir. Tadi ada beberapa orang, walaupun nggak komen nggak apa-apa. Sampai jumpa besok mungkin kalau gue udah pulang kerja jam 6. Bye.